All right, we're gonna get started, man. And tonight is a special event, really simply because, not because I'm here, not even because Michael's here per se, but my name's Dr. Jeremy Hess. Dr. Travis Messi from Montana. Woo! Woo! Montana! Dr. Travis, where are you opening? Montana or Alabama?
Alabama!
All right! Oh, is here Alabama? So, look at the change in us. All right, so we're gonna have a great night. One of the special things about tonight, one of the things that's special for me, I want to talk tonight, but I don't want to take away from these guys because one of the special things is for me tonight is I've had the opportunity to have Dan McClyman, Dan Wallace, and Michael Viscarelli all spend time and week in the practice where my practice is about 45 minutes south of here in Stockbridge, Georgia. And it's been an honor and privilege to see these guys do awesome and just grow up in chiropractic and just be an unbelievable examples of what's possible. And so tonight, a couple things are going to happen. Some of you are going to totally relate to the Dans and even to Michael and be like, yep, I can see that. That's definitely me. I'm making those same moves. I'm doing those same things. And then some of you are going to maybe kind of be in the football, and then maybe somewhere in between the next person. So there's kind of A, you're all in, B, maybe in between, but C, I'm afraid tonight a little bit. Some of you guys are going to see these guys and see their success, and their success may you may pull away or you may repel from it simply because you may say, man, I don't know if I can do that. So I just want to preface tonight with that I want to let you know that anything's possible. And I really believe that each one of you here, I know because you're here, you made a sacrifice to be here because there's 2,000 chiropractic students in the school, just about, and we've got a good room of 200 here. So I know the landscape of chiropractic. Michael and I have been to 10 different chiropracticology campuses in the last 16 months. You guys are blessed to be here. I mean, if you didn't know the facilities here, you guys are probably the best in chiropractic. Life University is, and it really is. I can tell you that. Logan College. I mean, it's nice. Logan's nice. If you guys want to transfer out, that's when you go there. Okay. Facilities anyway, not for chiropractic. For chiropractic there, so go there. Not for chiropractic. So the deal is tonight is that you guys are. It's kind of like. Sometimes take for granted. I graduated here. Sometimes take for granted. There's so much going on chiropractically. So again, I just want to preface tonight is that don't miss this tonight. Don't miss. So I know you're going to hear, but I want you to hopefully get some understanding between tonight and even tomorrow morning. The funny thing about launch is that this secret or those things that you really get are actually tomorrow morning. I don't want to leave you hanging that tonight's not going to be amazing because it is. But tomorrow morning we come back in this room from 9 to 11 and we actually break things down, like take the new practice member through the process. We look at we kind of take the roof off of practice and kind of look 30,000-foot view into the practice and how that practice functions and how practice members go through the practice and how these guys can go from 0 to hundreds of visits a week in just a few months. And if you didn't know it, how many here know Dan McClyman and Dan Wallace? It's got to raise your hands one time. So about 35% of the room. These guys graduated, both of them, in December of last year. So 8 months ago, less than 8 months ago, they were walking across the stage, across the parking lot. Very relevant. They just got done part 4 now, less than a year ago. I mean, these guys have been in your seats 8 months ago. So I want you to remember that if you're thinking that, you've hit some tough times or things are challenging, what you know they are in chiropracticology, you've heard this, you've heard that, or this is possible, that's not possible, don't do that. Come with a clean slate tonight and open heart and ears. I want to introduce you to Dr. Dan McClyman from Pennsylvania.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dan McClyman, and just like Dr. Jared was saying, we're in this together. We were here December, walking across that stage. My wife is also a doctor in the office. She was a little bit ahead of me, and I'll speak to that in a little bit later tonight. But what we've been able to do is not because of ourselves, it's because of the blessings and the mentors that we've had, and we just applied ourselves. We made ourselves available for opportunities, so when they came, we could go. And why I say that is because everybody sitting here has that same opportunity. If you've ever heard about the saying that hard work beats talent and talent doesn't work hard, that applies. You just gotta apply yourself, and what's possible for us is possible for you. So I'll just keep it brief here, but we're in Valley Forge area of Pennsylvania, so southeast corner, about an hour from Philly. And that's where I'm from. My wife's from Michigan, so I'll speak a little bit to that as well.
Philly, you're from Philly.
There you go. But the reason I say that is a lot of folks have questions. My friends had questions in school about going back to where they're from, which I did. My wife, obviously, she's from Michigan, so we can speak to that as well. But I'm going to wrap it up there, and I'll speak to you guys a little bit later.
All right, and Dr. Dan Wallace, Fort Collins, Colorado.
What's going on, everybody? Right. Hey, first of all, I just got to tell you guys, it is such an honor and so humbling to be up here right now in front of you guys. Our alma mater, Life University, unbelievable place, y'all. And I'm just so excited to share with you guys because I think that a lot of times, you know, as we're going through school, things can feel a little challenging. We're not getting a lot of chiropractic. It feels like if we do anything, we're gonna, you know, there's just so much negativity that goes on. And so I hope that we can just be transparent with you guys and just really open your eyes to the fact that, just like Dr. Dan McClyman said, what's real, you know, for us is it's real for anybody here that's willing to take a step and put some work in, and that's the reality of the situation. So it's an honor for me. These two guys on the flanks are biggest mentors that I have in chiropractic, and they taught us everything. And this guy to my right is my best friend in school. Guys, you guys surround yourselves with the right people. It's no secret that you know, we pushed each other the whole way through school. Got out. I pushed myself to graduate at the same time as he did. I got out here in 13 quarters just so we could try to open up in the spring and you know, be on the same token and do this thing together. And it's an honor, guys. It's a lot of fun. It is so fun. So let's have some fun tonight. Text your friends if they're not here. Make sure they're here. Sweetwater is not a fun place to be tonight. All right. Let's have a good time out here. We appreciate you guys.
I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to talk tonight because I'm Italian, so I need both my hands. Somebody's going to, actually, Dan, you're here to hold my mic. Actually, I'm Dr. Michael Viscarelli. Who's heard me speak before? Okay, so wow, you guys have been through a lot of stuff. Thanks for coming back. I don't know that either. But I got to tell you, so a lot of you guys know my story, so I'm not going to get into that. But for the people that don't know me, I graduated from Life University. I could have graduated twice had I passed all the classes because I took them that many times. But I struggled through school until I fell under the covering of Dr. Jeremy Hess, as did these guys. They didn't struggle like I did academically. But when we met Dr. Hess, it definitely changed our lives. Dr. Hess is an open book, and so is his wife Amanda. And they showed us everything that we needed to know to be successful. That ignited a fire within us. All right? It just got us so excited about chiropractic because I was just so focused on the curriculum and just getting through it and surviving. What I have found now through this like transition from school into the workplace and into our profession is that there's just so many people that are just holding on tight just to survive in practice. And our heartbeat, just to be completely transparent, why we're here, why. You know, I flew out here this weekend from Colorado. I got to fly out here next weekend from Colorado. We're speaking at a conference the weekend after in Colorado. It's just like constant. Is because we have a heart to see people just thrive in practice. The best case scenario for everybody in this room is to start off on the right foot like these guys did. That's the best case. It's so much more difficult when you hit that low to try to pull yourself back up in practice. Even in the momentum that we've all created in practice, and I think you guys all agree, when you don't see something go right, it's still like, it affects you. And you're like, man, I didn't grow by 50 visits this week, what the heck? You know what I mean? You're like, you're so competitive, and you're so driven that if you see any like signs of a setback, it can definitely affect your spirit in practice. And so we want to help prepare your hearts, prepare your minds, and give you hope that through stories like this, that these guys are not anomalous. They are very special. And I'm extremely humbled to be on the stage with the Dans. I am very honest about that. They know that I have been looking forward to this opportunity to share an evening with these guys sharing with you. And it has been in the works for a long time as they've been humbly preparing and working and serving their way to this point. And I think everybody in this room could take a page out of their book and say, you know what? Am I serving to my fullest capability? Am I preparing to my fullest capability? Am I as humble as I need to be to serve my community to my fullest capability? These guys are, and that's why they're here. You guys are going to be blown away by their story. But I do want to say this. We want to see more people accomplish this type of success. We have people all over the country doing some amazing things. People that we never would have thought would have done it, to be honest with you. They don't maybe look the part that you would think. Maybe they don't talk the way you think that they should talk. Maybe their practice isn't as stylish as you thought it should be. It really doesn't matter. There's so many more intangibles that are put into place that create this success that we want to help you guys get your mind around, your hands around, your heart around, so that you can be fully prepared to come out of the school and serve your community to your fullest capability. So I'm grateful for you guys to be here. One of the first times ever, my first time doing one of these events here at Life right after I graduated, I was 6 months in, when I did my first launch event, so to speak. We had about 300 and something people here, about 300, and at the break it grew. Why it grows is because people in the seats don't want to leave their friends behind. If you can't get your friends to get on board with chiropractic, it'll be very difficult to get your community who doesn't know anything about you to get on chiropractic. So I encourage you to text your friends, encourage them to leave Sweetwater, as that's not going to serve their lives. Make sure if they can't be here tonight that they're here in the mornings. We're going to break things down from A to Z. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to get started with Dr. Jeremy Hess from Stockbridge, Georgia.
All right. Does it the clicker work? All right, cool. Front row's open, by the way. It's the best seat. What do you think those are for you? My coffee here. Well, I'm excited to be here, guys. Not to spoil the fun of everybody being young. I'm a 99 grad of life. 1999. Woo! So, I'll share with you tonight. I'm going to talk about maybe some big ideas that as Michael and I and the guys go around to chiropractic colleges on the launch tour. Like Michael said, the objective of the launch tour. Hey, Dr. Rao. Is that Dr. Rao back there? The objective of the launch tour is to really inspire and motivate and find the really butt kickers on the college campuses. You know, if you've ever heard of a rule called the Pareto's Principle, you ever heard that before? Anybody heard of that before? Pareto's Principle, Pareto's Law? P-R-A-E-T-O, Pareto's Rule, Pareto's Principle. Basically, it says that it's 80-20 rule. And the 80-20 rule says that, you know, 20, for example, 20% of the people do 80% of the work. Like, you ever been on the job before where, you know, it's like there's a lot going on, but you can tell about 20% of the people are actually doing 80% of the work. Anybody been in a job like that before? Okay. For example, 20% of the people in the United States pretty much possess 80% of the money. You know, because it's like that, you know. So anyway, so what I mean by that is that really we're looking for the top 20% of students, whether you want to be an associate, whether you want to be in your practice, whatever you want to do, whatever your sole purpose is, right? Because everybody's different. Whatever you want to do in chiropractic, you're going to do it to your best and fullest potential. And what we don't want any of you to do is to, which happens to the 80%. All too many in chiropractic, and really it's not a chiropractic problem because it's a professional problem, because I talk to dentists and I talk to, you know, a good friend of mine, he teaches for Paul Mitchell, he wears our Paul Mitchell products, he teaches for Paul Mitchell of the world, and he said in the hair schools, Paul Mitchell's a great hair school, it's the same problem. People graduate and they don't know how to function. They know how to, you know, style and how to cut, but they don't know how to function in a salon, a high-end salon. They don't know how to function. They don't know how to market. They don't know anything about business. And so our goal tonight is to really encourage you, especially the 20% that want to go after it, because that's what it's going to take in order for us to really change the profession around. And I'm excited to be here. So that's our mission. That's our goal with Launch Tour, is really to encourage, inspire, and uplift the next generation of chiropractors. If you don't know me, follow us on my Facebook and Instagram. Anybody on Instagram here? All right, make sure you get on Instagram. We got some good pics on there. All right, so let's go here. Good pics of Michael. Did it move? Yeah. Okay, good, because it's got delay up here. Okay. All right, so make sure I'm on the right slide, guys. All right, so this says, because I have to read it because I don't know it by heart. Steve Jobs, simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clean to make it simple. But it's worth it in the end because once you get there, you can move mountains. What does this mean? Well, who here came to chiropractic school with who here went to the chiropractor and had some decent results before coming to chiropractic school? Okay, cool. I think a pretty good percentage of you. So, and even if you never went to a chiropractor, maybe you had an idea what chiropractic was. You had typically, if you were under chiropractic care, it's typically very clear. You had problems, you had issues, whatever issues may be. You went to the chiropractor, you got specific care, you got, body heal itself. It made sense. It was simple, right? Who here remembers their first adjustment? Now, some of you in the lower court. I did my first adjustment in between first and second quarter. I was down here off Tielmo Road. I remember specifically. At my friend's house, Mustafa. He was from Turkey. He's in chiropractic in Turkey now, Mustafa. And at that time, I was, using the knee chest table. And if you've ever been adjusted on the knee chest table, that's someone who doesn't know what they're doing. That hurts. So I remember it was ASR, man. I remember. So it was actually this hand, right? It was like ASRP plus, minus, whatever terminology, I forget, Mustafa. But it was ASR, I knew that. And when that thing went clunk, right? Who remembers their first adjustment went clunk? Remember that? Well, it doesn't matter how you did it, right? That's fine. So that's what you kind of call that your first love. It's like, man, when you do that first adjustment, freaking chiropractic's better than I thought it was, right? And it's just simple. It's freaking simple. It's like, oh, move the bone. It's like, obviously there's all the neurology and everything involved. I get all that. Michael knows all the neurology. Ask him, he knows all the science behind everything. I'm not the science guy, Michael is. There's a lot of science, neurology, basic care, all that stuff. It's just simple, man. It's clean, right? All right, so what happens? It's our first quarter hitch, second quarter, third quarter. There's different terms now. OSCE, this, that. It's like boards. Boards 1, boards 2, boards 3. Did you hear they just approved boards 5 2 days ago? Did you hear that? I'm just kidding. I finally got your attention. Michael, they finally paid attention. I said, boards 4. Michael's like, shit, I'm gonna go back. I have nightmares sometimes, I'll admit it, but every once in a while Michael calls me, he's like, dude, woke up at 4:11, man. There's nightmares. The Board of Chiropractors, they're in Colorado, the Board of Chiropractors, they're in my house, man. They were demanding that they look at my Part 2 scores again. One of the scantrons wasn't right. They went back and researched it. So, but seriously, it's like it gets complicated, man. It's like, you hear from this professor, do this, you can't do that, you're gonna get sued. In one of our AMP secret groups, it always comes up when the students come to the office. I remember Dr. Josh Hasey's back there. Where's Josh at? So you don't need to be like Josh, right? I'm not saying you all have to come to my practice, but find someone you love and mentor. There's a lot of great, Dr. Jen Wozniak's here, Dr. Gino's over here, I see him, a lot of even local chiropractors tonight. Josh would come down to my office, and he has an iPad. So, hey, man, what's up? And Ashley would come to, and he's like, hey, well, I want to talk, I have a bunch of questions, All right, Anthony, Dr. Sport. So we'd have, Dr. Sport, just kind of, it's probably like 8:45 now, 9 o'clock at night. And I was like, okay, man, let's talk. I'm on to look at x-rays, so he's got his iPad out, and he's got questions. The first time he comes down, it was kind of like the third time he came down, I was like, okay, cool, let's do questions. So he's got all these questions, and then second, so eventually, he has a lot less questions. So one of the big ideas tonight I want you to get is that it was simple when you started chiropractic, for many of us. You got complicated in school, and now the job is to get simple again. For many of you, the main objective, because you guys got many of you spending a lot of time on technique. Great, spend your time on technique. But just because you spend a lot of time on technique doesn't mean you ignore the fact that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and you just ignore the fact that you're going to graduate someday. Do your technique, sure. Some of you have to spend a lot of time on getting your head cleared out and getting simple again. Because if you get simple, you can get the questions answered in your head, and that's one of the objectives of tonight, especially tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning we have a Q&A session. If you can get those questions out of your head, the more successful, when I say success, I want to be money. But money's nice, right? Yeah. I like John Maxwell. I've heard John Maxwell, great speaker, author, great books, check out his books. He says like this, money doesn't make you happy, but it sure gives you a lot of options. So I say, right? So there's money, but there's the success. The bigger success for us is to see the families and the children come in and see them get well, and see them get healed, and have the loving practice, and people come after year after year after year. And, you're the first one they talk to about when a loved one dies, and they come in, and that's the environment you want in your practice. But the only way that you can get that at a higher level and as quick as possible, right? When I say quick as possible, my dream is to serve hundreds of people a week. Well, why don't you start out doing that right away? Why does it have to take 5, 8, 10 years, or maybe never to even get there? So why not just start that way from the beginning? Right? So hopefully your understanding is that many of us, our heads are clogged. By the time you get to 12, 13, 14 quarter, man, you're screwed up. Matter of fact, how many of you here tonight are in 12th quarter above? Right? And how many of you raise your hands are pretty plugged into amped? If you're 12th quarter above and you're not an amped, raise your hand. Come on. Here's my point, is that what happens at launch tour, guess what? 10th, 11th, 12th, it's like you get confused in your head. So if you're not there, I'm telling you now, is you have to, you can't anchor into an anchor mind, right? You guys have to get anchored in something. You got to plug in people who know what they're talking about, who have answers. Because if you can, that's why the Danes are so successful. That's why so many people are graduating and being so successful. Is the number one reason it's not their technique. I'll tell you that for sure. You'll know that. You've been to a lot of chiropractors, or seen a lot of people. You've been adjusting, man, adjustment's rough. I know. It's like, man, I'm not going back there. But look at people here. It's like families. Everybody's getting better too. So have a great technique. Do a technique you love and you're good with. What is it? It's because they're clear about their message. And when you graduate, unfortunately, the school gives you so much, and it's not the school's fault. It's there's all kinds of other issues, but you get all cluttered, and when you graduate, you don't know which way to turn. And many of you have, it's like all this mixed bag of you don't know what to do. So my advice to you is get clear in your head, get your questions answered, and we're here to answer them for you, right? These guys spend thousands of dollars to be here, away from their kids and families and everything, right? They're not paid to be here, right? Matter of fact, this is funny. We pay to be here for you, and it's free for you. Isn't that kind of cool? It costs you to be here. So I highly recommend it. We'll talk more about that. Okay. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Who feels they've gotten punched in the face before recently? Right? So I got this plan, chiropractic, all of a sudden you get punched in the face. Right? So it's okay. You're going to get punched in the face. The point is, if you get punched in the face, can you get back up? Some of you need to get punched in the face a couple of times. Because I can guarantee you, when you get out and practice, you're going to get punched a lot. I get punched every day. Every day. And people come in, it's very common. The call, hey, I'm not coming back, but orthopedic said, don't come back to the chiropractor. You could have a stroke or get severely killed. Chat last week. You don't think that stuff happens anymore? Physical therapist said not to come back because what we're doing is just as effective as what you're getting over there. I mean, the spouse said this, and thankfully, these are exceptions to the rule, but they happen every day, right? If you're out marketing and you're explaining chiropractic, right? By the way, you have to sell. Who here didn't know they have to sell chiropractic? Everybody knows that you're a salesperson now, right? In your chiropractic school. Okay. What do you mean that? Well, any business you own, whether you're an associate or whether you open your own practice, you have to put butts in the seats. You have to put butts in the seats. You got to get people from the street into your practice, educated and committed and willing to get adjusted. There's a process, right? Too many people call me. Just had a call. Palmer College, by the way, Palmer grad. By the way, what's the best way to get a Palmer grad off your front porch? Pay for the pizza. We're a Palmer, we say that about life, so. Palmer's, what's the best way to get a life right off your front porch? Pay the pizza. They laughed harder than you guys, by the way. All right, so, or was that? What's that? Oh, Palmer grad calls me. referred by a guy. I mean, so his friend is like, you know, these guys know Juan. I mean, Juan's, you know, Juan's the kind of guy, and he was like, you would never suspect him to do. I mean, you know, he's like, yeah, he's better practice, but I mean, Juan, you know, I mean, it's kind of like Juan's just a great guy. It's just, but you know, sometimes you have this vision. Some of you out there, you're saying, you need to be an A personality like Dr. J, like me. You gotta be A personality. You gotta be like, you know, like that. Who here's not A personality? Juan is definitely not A. Juan is like laid back. Juan is, most of the people are like laid back, way big time. He's absolutely unbelievably, I mean, like hundreds of visits. There's over 400 visits in 6 months in. Crazy growth. You know, collecting $60,000, $70,000. Who would like to collect $60,000, $70,000 a week, second, third month in practice? I like to get back to school. Mike and I just gave 10 grand to life a couple weeks ago for research. It's not about money. I want to get back to chiropractic. Don't you guys? So you don't have to be an A personality to be successful. Some of you here like tonight say, oh man, you don't be a guy either. Ladies, come on, I'm here for the ladies. A lot of amazing solo female docs that are just crushing it, doing amazing things, you know, having babies, doing chiropractic, making it work. So many examples of that. So many. I know. I thought today is we usually have ladies up here. We got the guys, we got the sausage party, but know that there's a lot of ladies out there that are doing amazing things. So if you get punched in the face, get back up. All right. Would you like me to give you a formula for success?
Yeah.
All right. It's quite simple. We're being simple tonight. Double your rate of failure. You're thinking failure is an enemy of success, but if it isn't at all, you can be discouraged by failure or you can learn from it. So go ahead and make mistakes. Make all you can because remember, that's where you'll find success. That's the Palmer guy, by the way. He called me, he's the Sunday night before his third week in practice. He's like, hey man, Juan, my friend, he's been telling me to call you guys. I should have got plugged in. What's going on? What's my third week in practice? Oh, cool. I looked at me as he's sitting there looking up on Facebook. Man, nice place. Place that's good. You know, nice logo and everything. And he said, yeah. I said, how's things going? And I said, oh man, well, you know, it's kind of been a rocky start. Not exactly what I wanted. I said, tell me, you know, how many? Okay, it's not gonna be embarrassed. How many did you see? He said, how many did you see last week? He said, I saw 3 people. 3 people second week in practice. Thankfully, he didn't wait another 6 months or 10 months. Did you know? I don't know if this is true or not. Dr. Brower, he has a statistic that he says that 50% of you right there, when you graduate, 50% of you will not be in chiropractic in 5 years. 50% of you. It seems a little high to me. I gotta check his resources on that deal. It's every time I'm like, hey, you gotta be kidding me. But even if it's 25, even if it's cut that in half, 1 in every 40, right? I mean, technically, look at the person next to you, right? Say, hey, hope I'll see you in 5 years. Hope I'll see you at the Life Homecoming Party. I mean, seriously, it's sad. So, failure. Many of you right now, don't make your mistakes when you open your practice. Make your mistakes now, right? So Dustin, raise your hand. Right? So Dustin, is down to practice. You don't have to come to my practice. There's lots of practice to go to. Let's give you your play. You want to plug in? Let me know. So Dustin, it's like, come down to practice. He's making some mistakes. A lot of them, by the way. He's making a lot of mistakes, actually. Right? It's okay. He's making mistakes. He's going to be successful. Right? I mean, even little things, we talk about this is common, not Dustin, this is everybody. I mean, just simple stuff. Eye contact, body language, how you project yourself. I mean, just totally unconscious things. I mean, that's just starters. I mean, I'm not picking on time. I mean, virtually 95% would come to practice when they start hanging outside. Dude, we got to talk about your stance, your body language, your posture, how you're relating to people. Just easy stuff. Makes a huge difference. Okay, that's no big deal, but the time to make mistakes, the time to go to your first marketing event and talk about chiropractic isn't after you sign your lease and now you've got a budget. We're going to talk about budgets tomorrow morning. Who wants to know about budgets? What's going to cost our price? Tomorrow morning. You didn't know that stuff. I don't know, average price $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month. Josh, what's your budget when you open monthly? $8,000. Jen, what's your budget? 10, okay, 10,000 right there. They just opened North Atlanta like a couple months ago. 10,000. So you tell me I got $8,000, $10,000 a month now. I've committed to, I've signed. and the co-signer signed, mom and dad, or whoever signed with you maybe, riding on this thing, and you've never been to an event where maybe, like a women's event. You can be a woman in the practice, or someone you're kind of, you're at the chambers, like, hey, come speak at a women's event. We got a women's event at my church over here. You've never done that before? It's not the time to make a mistake, guys. The time to make mistakes is now. In first quarter, eighth quarter, fourth, whatever quarter, the time to make mistakes is, hey, come on our time. Great.
Right.
You can go now. We're talking about more action steps. You can go tomorrow. After you get here tonight, might be a little late. You might be a creeper if you start doing this at 9:30 at night. I don't recommend that. But I used to go to the Kerber Pharmacy over here on Delk Road. I used to go to the pharmacy and talk to people about chiropractic. I used to go to Cumberland Mall. I used to talk. That's how I got my patients in clinic. I used to go down to the mall and talk to people about chiropractic, like did a survey, the health survey. I just talk. I let's look for people that like were kind of just hanging out. I wasn't trying to be too much of a creeper, right? I just talk about chiropractic, right? You can go right now and make lots of mistakes. You don't have to be in someone's office. You can walk out. You can go out here on Cobb Parkway. We're right out here at Cobb Parkway at these car dealerships, and walk in there and or at the sub shop, pizza shop, just kind of wait in line or talk to people. You can talk to them about chiropractic. What do they know? How do you do that? Hey, who's your chiropractor? You go, we say you're checking out Kerber. Hey, I say, hey, good to see you. You look real nice. Put that sign away. Just kidding. So I'll meet him. By the way, tonight I'm meeting Michael Israeli's time. So Michael's gonna roll short. But you can go over there and you can say, hey, you talk to Mr. Hey, great day, huh? Great day here. It looks like it's busy, huh? Oh yeah, it's been really busy here. Wow, you're on your feet all day long? Yeah, it's been a tough day. We take care of a lot of people that are on their feet all day long. I'm a chiropractor, but who's your chiropractor? Talk about anything. Do a health survey at the mall. In the mall, you go up and say, hey, Diane. Hey, Diane. I'm Jane. I'm a student intern over here at the chiropractic college. I'm actually doing a survey about health. I just wondered what you thought about chiropractic and how it relates to health. And just stop. You get all kinds of answers. You learn how to speak chiropractic. It's a language, right? We were like taking Spanish in high school. Who took Spanish in high school? All right, those same people, keep your hand up if you actually know Spanish now. Good. Point is, you have to learn the chiropractic language and lexicon. And you know that from part 1, 2, 3, 4, there's a different language and lexicon that works in the community, and it's not what you're learning in chiropractic college. The chiropractic college lexicon you're learning is the past words. Why do they want your past words? Because then they say, then we keep you in school. Why do we want to keep you in school? Because that's how the student loans come. Unfortunately, this day and age, there's so many broke chiropractors. Everybody say broke chiropractor. Now turn to your neighbor and say, I'm not going to be one. I hope not, because there's enough of them already. Broke chiropractors. What's a broke chiropractor? 60% of the profession, current chiropractors are 3 months away from bankruptcy. 3 months. Chew on that. What does that mean? It should be, yes, the school's getting maybe, if you look at the pie chart of the budget of the school, Life University College, it's like 90% plus is from student loans. Now, Life gets some big endowments, but most of the schools, it's still a lion's share from student loans. Wouldn't it be great if it was like 20% from student loans and like 50% from alumni? Pretty cool, right? Then the school could say, we're gonna do what we want to do. We don't need a CC. We got, that's a whole other topic. I'll take the dance time if I get on that topic. All right, wrong way. But you do remember everybody has a plan, so you get punched in the face. You're gonna get punched in the face. You're gonna get punched in the face every day in practice. I tell you, it's not from practice members, from insurance companies. It's not from an insurance company. It's gonna be from an attorney. If it's not from an attorney, it could be from your spouse or your kids. All right, so keep failing. How do you fail? I got lots of ways to fail. Come and talk to me. I'll give you an action plan for failure. I'm serious. Go reach out to Facebook. I'll give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll challenge you. I'll challenge you here. I'll connect. These guys will mark me. I'll challenge you on Facebook. Text me. I'll text you and I'll Facebook you and I'll email you. Any of you here tonight. Any of you. Challenge me. Send me. Now I want some action steps. Good. Facebook me every day. Text me every day. I'll give you action steps every day. Love to. I'm here for you guys. I'm not too busy for the future of chiropractic. Get in the marketplace. You guys have to get in my contact. You guys have to get in the marketplace. Don't fool yourselves. Get in the marketplace. Do it now. Get sharp. These guys, man, they've been in hundreds. Everybody say hundreds. I'm serious. Dan's have been in, all right, I want to lie. They've probably been in Hundreds. They've been in over 100 screenings before they graduated. I'll tell you that. Over 100. They had hundreds of hours at screenings. They don't have 100, but they've been in dozens of dinners with docs. Dozens of health talks. Personally, have done dozens of health talks. Does anybody do all that? You don't do all that. But get your feet wet a little bit. Don't be greedy when you go out there. What you focus on expands. Visit some offices. Visit some offices you're congruent with. I got news for you. If you're going to go visit offices, you better put a filter on. You better put a filter on. I challenge you this. Go back to your hometown when you want to practice. Visit 10 offices. I challenge you. I say half of them say, don't open up here. It's horrible here. Don't do it. Don't come here. Do you guys do that? Challenging. Unfortunately, that's what you get. Don't open up here. It's bad. Don't do chiropractic. Here's a good story. I'll tell Brower. He's not here tonight. Dr. Brower in New York. He's been open. He's one of our leaders who's on the launch tour. He went to buy some equipment from this chiropractor, X-ray. The guy was selling out. He's closing shop. So he's trying to be sweet to him. He's like, hey, doc, this guy's like in his 50s, just like getting out of chiropractic after, 18 years or so. He's like, hey, doc, just want to, come and say, hey, any tips for me? Kind of just, he's just trying to come. He goes, yeah, I got one tip. Don't open up. Don't open up. As he's buying all his stuff, it's crazy, isn't it? What a tip. Time management. You guys need some time management, man. I am so busy, Dr. J. You understand? I'm so busy, man. Come on, busy? I'll text you. I'll Facebook you. I'm not busy. Prioritize. Goes like this. Write this down. Purpose, priority, productivity, profit. Some of you aren't writing. Busy, I'm giving it all to them, bro. Purpose, priority, productivity, profit. That's the way it goes, guys. Your practice to be productive and profitable, it starts with one person. It starts with you. It's the only person it's going to start with. Then as you build, you get people around you and delegate. You have a team. Now all I do is pretty much adjust. Do a couple other small things, but I just adjust. And I out Facebook and out text and out email everybody. Because I have a team that does everything else. I love my team. I have a great team. Time is, some of you act like you're so busy. You're not. Stop fooling yourself. Many of you are in chiropractic school, but you're actually in CrossFit school. Or you're actually in dance school. Or you're actually in going out on the weekend school. Or you're actually in whatever school you're in. You're in fitness school. No, you're not. You're in chiropractic school. I didn't say you couldn't work out. I'd say you can do this or that. Some of you are in TV school. Oh, that would hurt, didn't it? I got news for you. Let me give you some more advice. Time yourself on Facebook. All you need to do is come look at my posts and you're out. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. How much more time do you know on Facebook than that? Some of you guys spend hours on watching a ton of TV. Watch me a movie on Sunday or something. Give yourself a little downtime, man. You guys have to double time it. Oh, he's just like Dan. Triple time it. All right, let's check this out. This is fun. I'm going to end up here. I know you guys are like, get off the stage. These guys are going to give me heat. Heat wave. It's a heat wave over here. Inside joke. All right, so look at this. You guys see this? These are easy, okay? So you come to the office, you want to start plugging in, you're doing, you get your feet wet, and all of a sudden you're an assessment. Hopefully, these things are happening during maybe your peak process, or maybe even you're hanging out in a doctor's office, maybe you're observing, you're following a team member, you're seeing these. This should not be happening after you open up. Okay, new practice member. Initial assessment. We do initial assessment, and we do more diagnostics. This is one of the diagnostics we do. We do x-ray, we do range of motion, we do palpation, we do visual, we do neurological assessment, meaning thermal, we do a muscle assessment, SEMG. We do a lot of stuff to quantify and qualify subluxation. So don't act like we're low value and just seeing all kinds of people. We're high value, high profit. I'm not bragging. I'm saying this for you guys. It's possible. I owe $1 million. We've had my wife's card. We've had $1 million practice for 8 years. We're collecting over 100,000 a month every month. It's good for chiropractic. It's good for me too. All right, so this is easy. So initial assessment, right? They come in, reassessment. Like, maybe, I don't know, 10 in your system, 12, 15 or so visits in, right? Okay, this is easy, right? Red bar is bad, right? You guys know this is self-satiation. You guys use this school here, probably something like it. Reassessment, this is like 15 minutes later. Who here couldn't explain that? Mrs. Jones, it was really bad before, was it? Now it's really good. Yeah. My 8-year-old daughter can explain that. This one's easy. Sometimes they come with this, right? What do you say that? Oh, I don't say that. Oh, come on. This is easy. I got this. I don't need to go to the office and check it out. All right, next example. Initial assessment, reassessment. Right. What do I say here? I think about this real stuff. It's practice. This happens 15, 20, 25 times a day in our practice. What do you guys say? Well, Mrs. Jones, you can see on your initial assessment, you had multiple levels of nerve interference. And remember we said the red was severe, and blue was moderate, and green was mild, and the other one. We got this stuff down cool. I'm having a fun tonight. And you see now it's, we're looking for global subluxation. You see it's changing here. Oh, come on. What are you going to say to this? She said, well, now it looks like there's still, now why is it it was on the left side at the top, now it's on the right side. Why is that? Diane, why is that? Well, Mrs. Jones, that's product called retracing. And what we're doing every time Dr. Hess makes a specific adjustment and moves the bone this way, see the muscles and the ligaments are shifting and changing in there. It's very common that in your reassessment, especially the first one, you're going to have multiple changes. And you see that the problem was on the left side, now it's shifting to the right. It's actually called a healing process, right? Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it's changing, shifting, right? I mean, okay, it's different about. You see there's less red at the bottom. Okay, you can wiggle your way out of that one, maybe. What are you going to say on this one, huh? Now you can see Mrs. Jones. I'll be right back. I need a glass of water. Now there's this thing called retracing that B.J. Palmer. Actually, it was D.D. Palmer, and it was in Davenport, 1908. Actually, this is very scientific now. Just let me explain this here. You better be ready for this, especially with some of the women in my practice, and yours too. You get the drift. You gotta be prepared, man. This is serious stuff. It's serious because I haven't fun. It's serious because of their health. It's serious because of their trust. Because a lot of times, Johnny and Susie haven't been in the practice yet, right? They're still trusting you. Sometimes the kids come right in. Sometimes they don't. Don't act like every parent that starts with me is bringing their kid in on the next visit. That's not how it is, unfortunately, right? Don't fool yourself and think that, oh, look at that card on your face. Oh, yeah, you graduated 3 months ago. Look, 4-month-old there. Oh, so cute. They put a 4-month-old in. I bet they have 4-month-old coming in every day, like twice, 3 times a day. It's not how it happens. They don't come home from the hospital and just try, oh, here's my 3-day-old. We had a 3-day-old to practice yesterday. Here's my 3-day-old. You just adjust it. Nah, it's not how it happens. I don't care what anybody says, ICPA or anybody, it's not how it happens. I don't care how certified you are. It's called trust. And trust is built through dealing with things like this. And you being legit and not smoke and mirrors. If they knew what you knew, they'd do what you do. Sure. But all of you here are going to go to chiropractor the rest of your life. You're going to not vaccinate your kids. You're going to eat organic. You're going to eat raw. And, here's a big thing tonight. There's another big nugget for you. Write this down. I'm going to end here soon. This is big for a lot of you here. Don't confuse your chiropractic practice with your chiropractic lifestyle. Circa 2015, Jeremy Hess. I learned this from Michael. Now, I never had this problem confusing because but many of us, because I had 99 years, I don't know, it's just USD Organic wasn't around yet, I guess, I don't know. And Cohen Blow wasn't around yet. Don't confuse your chiropractic practice with your chiropractic lifestyle. What does that mean? Just because you smoke green kale on the weekends and you drink kombucha and you rub, whatever on your Tutti Bahooty, coconut oil, organic from the Maldives, and you're this lifestyle. I do too. I shop at Whole Foods. I spend $500 a week there. I spend $1,800, $2,000 in food. And I swear to God, they always say, man, it's for 1 week. I'm like, yeah, it's for a week. It's about $400 actually, my average, about $400 a week at Whole Foods. You will too, maybe you do now. Just because I shop there, just because I work out, just because I sit in a sauna for 20 minutes a day, I sit in a sauna in the morning, 20, 25 minutes, 5 mornings a week. I love that thing, man. Sweat it out. Just because I do that stuff doesn't mean my practice members should, or should I tell them about it? I got news for you. They are all kinds of nutritionists, naturopaths, and wellness centers. Tell them all about that. What they don't know is about vertebral subluxation and how it kills, it can harm their children and their family and their lifestyle. So don't confuse, just because you do all these things, I do all these things too. It doesn't mean you have to bring them all in your practice. My opinion. Whatever you're thinking, think bigger. Think bigger. Let's see if this thing plays on this. How do I play it, guys? Just push play. Play back there. So this video here is really cool. I love this, and especially at the end, he says "boom." You'll see. But this is basically, and he starts out, and it starts. I'll just stop. Okay. Maybe he'll play. Maybe he won't. Scroll to the bottom of the screen. If it doesn't play, it's okay. I'll give you the gist. Can you play it or no? All right, cool. So basically, at the bottom, if you Google or YouTube, on YouTube, put in, by the way, if you missed it, it was don't confuse your chiropractic practice with chiropractic lifestyle. If you missed it, it was priority. It's purpose, priority, productivity, profit. So this basically, he talks about how this 5/8 domino, it's like 2 millimeters, and it weighs like ounces. As it starts to hit the dominoes, after like 9 dominoes, it's like 1.5 foot high, 100 pounds, and after like 17 dominoes, it can knock down the Eiffel Tower. My point is this: you got to start somewhere. Some of you right now, after you hear the dancing tonight, tomorrow, you're gonna opt out. You're gonna say, "I'm opting out. It's too much to do. Too much to do. I'm too far behind." It's probably a lot of us here. Probably a lot of us here. You're gonna opt out. You're gonna justify the fact that you're too far behind, and you're gonna do something else. Telling you, small steps. You got to get started somewhere. Don't let yourself down. You got to get started somewhere. All right, I'm going to bring up Dr. Dan Wallace, Dr. Dan McClyman. And as Dan comes up here, phenomenal guy. Listen, Dan, was in our practice. I mean, this guy's been grinding it out for a long time. Would it be wrong to say that you've been over 100 screenings before? Hundreds of screenings, dozens of dinner with docs, tons of it, lots of it, hundreds of it in office hour time. Not necessarily just at my office, lots of offices. Observing. Instead of going Cancun on his summer or winter break, he went to offices that he was congruent with. And he checked it out. And he served. He got plugged in. And he got the questions out of his head. And that's why these guys rarely ever call and say, "Oh, you mentioned me." Yeah, we get a lot, but they never call. There's other people I don't know. Never calls me with questions. I'm sure he doesn't have many questions. I'll have questions here and there. But they have questions because things are moving so fast. It's like, what do you do when there's 90, you're seeing 90 a day and you're 3 months in? What do you do? The questions actually are, how do I keep this thing together because it's moving so fast and there's so much money coming in? What do I do? Those are the questions like, help me. It's not help me, I can't swim, I can't pay my bills. So I'm excited that you guys get the honor and privilege to hear them tonight. And hopefully I didn't cut you guys too short. Just keep rolling and we'll just cover McLeod.
Okay, everybody. So I've got a lot of things that I want to share with you tonight. Before I start, I just want to say that these two men here have been a huge impact on my life and in my wife's life. So the thing is, I was listening over there, just like you guys were. There's so much wisdom coming out. So everything that he was throwing out there, nuggets. So don't do it for me. Don't do it for Dr. Jeremy. Do it for yourselves. Do it for your families, for your future practices. You got to get to this stuff. I can literally tell you I have 6, 7 notebooks full from conferences, through school and things like that. Also, what I want to say before I start is that we are in this together. Like I had mentioned before, yes, I graduated, I crossed the stage, but why I'm down here tonight away from my wife and my family is because I want you guys to be enlightened to what we've gone through the past 6 to 8 months here. Okay, and so hopefully that will be able to lift you up and empower you to make some decisions that are going to put you in the right place. So one other thing I want to address is my wife, when she got involved with AMP and everything, she was in her 13th quarter. We came out of the conference, she was crying. I mean, I'll never get emotional. I'll never forget it. So if you're later in the game, you know, it's not too late. There's options for you. So stay tuned in here and we're going to rock and roll. So there's a lot of things we can talk about our opening. Who saw the Google Hangout a couple weeks ago? Okay, so not too many. We covered a lot of things there. Try to get your hands on that about our opening and things. That's not my job tonight. My job tonight is to talk about perfecting your skill set. And also bear in mind, obviously we're right in the beginning of this thing. So I've got a ton to learn. And that's really the theme here. It's not a destination, it's a journey. So we've all got a lot to learn. And we're surrounded by some giants here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover some basics. Again, I'm going to rapid fire until they pull me off of here because I got some bullet points I want you guys to know, and hopefully it'll benefit you and your family. All right? Okay. So here's what we're going to cover. We're going to go over a few different things. We're going to start on a personal level because this was a big thing for us. You know, you can run the practice if you don't have the balance, and especially starting off, that's a really hard thing to do. When you're sleeping a few hours a night, and you got a lot of people, and you're training a team and all this kind of thing. So we're going to go through personal fulfillment, communicating, a little bit about marketing, and then some nuts and bolts from the practice that we've developed over the past few months that we've been open here. All right. So the first thing here, what we're talking about, this is one thing that you need to refine yourself in school with. If I could give my advice on that one, we were blessed to be able to lead club when we came through school for a couple years. These guys put us in a position to develop those leadership skills, which is an incredible blessing. The top thing there, choose not to complain, okay? So there's networking groups that early in the morning, you know, you're working 14, 15-hour days. Do you want to get up at 7 or go be at the meeting at 7? Probably not, but it's going to help, you know, contribute to your practice and your impact in the community. So these are the things you need to prepare yourself mentally for. And Dr. Michael always said you need to build your endurance now. He's probably going to say that tonight because every time he says it, it means a new thing to me. There's always new levels to get to, okay? So what I mean by remember your anchors is that, again, when you don't want to get out of the bed in the morning and you got a lot going on, who I think about right now, and again, I get emotional about this stuff because, I mean, literally it's everybody from, you know, 6-week-old Ben to 3-month-old, you know, Madison to people in their 80s. I mean, there's so many people that need help, and they need what we have to deliver to them. So it's important that you prepare yourself to be able to deliver that with excellence, with authority. My birthday is actually today, right? So I'm 26. I don't say that about myself, but why I tell you guys that is because literally the first 4 months of practice, I was 25 years old, okay? So you're talking to an 86-year-old, you need to know how to do that. You need to know how to respect them, but also lead them in their healthcare because they see chiropractic through these lenses of your quack. You know, there's a lot of crap that you hear. But you know what we have will change their life. So you need to be able to meet these people where they are. We'll get into that. But there's 3 kids there. I'm not going to belabor the point too much, but everything from severe depression with 5 different heavy medications for that at 16 years old to Tourette syndrome on heavy doped up medications at 12 years old. We see a lot of stuff. So we're going to cover that in a bit. But this thing I want to tell you about here, that your joy, what I mean by that, your joy always leads your growth. This is an important concept that one of my mentors taught me. I usually do a thing with a hand, it's a little hard with the mic here. But here's the thing, practice growth, especially in the summertime, people on vacation, things like that. So if you tie your joy to your growth and you let your growth lead your joy and your purpose in life, you're going to be on an emotional roller coaster. Every day, every week, you're going to be leading your team that way. They're going to see that example, you're going to be chaotic. So what you need to do is flip those, okay? And if these things are a little bit premature, just stick them in your back pocket. We'll use them at some point. Write this stuff down. You need your joy and your purpose, why you do what you do every day to lead your growth. Because when the growth ebbs and flows and you have weeks where it's a little bit down, weeks where it's great, you don't want to be, and this is the last thing, you probably heard this analogy, you want to be the thermostat, not the temperature. Because what does the thermostat do?
Regulate.
It sets the tone. It sets the tone for growth. I had a joke that I was thinking about earlier that some of the TRT people probably get. You want to set the tone at 64 hertz frequency. So they put that in your pocket. All right. It's very funny. So don't be the thermometer, up and down, reacting to things. You want to set the tone in your practice and in your community. Okay, so I just want to share a couple things about our joy and some of the things that we've come to find balance in our practice. So during our build-out period, and we can talk about this later in much more detail, but there weren't too many things that I was able to do in the build-out besides coordinating it. And my family, my dad, my brothers, my uncle, we all did this thing together, okay? But they were there during the day. I was there at 5 in the morning coordinating things, and then we were out marketing. We were pounding the pavement. When businesses were open, when there were meetings to go to, that's what we did. But this stuff here is some of the funnest stuff and enjoyment that I get with my dad, okay? Apologize. So the one thing that we did was we built this desk together. And so, try to pull this thing together. So here's the thing, my dad, you know, besides my wife, he's my best friend in the world. We worked together growing up. He taught me how to work, and he sacrificed along with my mother for our family. So this is one thing that we could do. So you need to find that balance where, yeah, you could spend an extra 3 or 4 hours out that day, but the day we were building this desk, that's something that we did together. So that's hopefully an image to you of some of the things that you can do in practice. And we're 4 months in now. The other weekend we went fishing. The one there in the bottom is a couple of the guys that we had up. You probably know them, a few of you. They helped to open our practice with us the first couple weeks. And then that's my wife there in the top. We went and I took her to medieval times. She's always wanted to do that. So that's some of the cool stuff that you're able to do. You won't be able to do it right off the bat, and that's okay. But we really struggle with some of this stuff because it's like we just got married last fall. I'm just being real transparent with you guys. It's like it's hard, man. It's some tough stuff. Like we were grinding, you know, and it'll wear on you. So you need to pace yourself. And Dr. Michael always said you want to set realistic goals. You want to plan in your calendar when you're going to have some breaks. You need to have a little bit of grace with yourself. Don't be lazy. Have some grace with yourself. Okay, so we're going to get into some more of the nuts and bolts here. That was more on a personal end. But a couple of things that I do in the practice, and again, not to say that you guys need to do it, is I try, and again, we're at a level where we can really do this, but if you're at Dr. Jeremy, Dr. Michael's level, I don't know, because I'm not there yet, but we greet everybody by name, by first name. When I go into the room to adjust them, I put my hand on their back, I make personal contact with them, and if they had their head up or whatever, we greet them by name. They're a part of this practice. They're not a patient, they're a practice member. And there's a lot more to that than meets the ear on that one. Again, another thing is the age thing. So again, 25 years old, you're going into a consult with a mother of 5 kids, with a veteran who's been retired for 20 years, who has grandkids older than me. All that goes to the side because it's not about how old you are, it's about with how much authority you can walk in. Okay, while showing respect, and that's the other thing. So there's different ways that you can do that. You need to find what's right for you, but these are things you need to be working on, like Dr. Jeremy was saying. When you're meeting people in the community, when you're meeting people in clinic, some of the things that you need to do are pay attention to these, like you said, the body language, the tone, how you're going to talk to them. When you have kids in the room and you're going over finances, you need to, touch base with the parents. Do the kids need to leave? Can we talk about things openly? Kids with autism that have been labeled with ADHD. She'll, let you know, mother or father, hey, don't say these words. I don't want to upset the kids. There's some of the finer details that we've learned, and I'm grateful for the mentorship that we've been on the front end of that. We haven't really embarrassed ourselves, which is good. This thing, dialogue versus monologue, right now it's a monologue. I'm talking at you guys in the practice. There's ways, and Dr. Jeremy has taught me so much on this. You want to control the conversation and lead them in their thought, but you don't want to talk at them the whole time. You want to have a Socratic dialogue, so you want to ask questions. Mary, did you know that your spine and nervous system should have been managed since birth? Did you know that? No, nobody knows that, right? So that opens the window for, we're talking about family practice. Who here wants to have a family practice and see kids? Awesome. So there's this thing called subluxation, right? And that is the core of it. So we check people for subluxation. If your wife had stage 4 cancer, would you want to know about it? If your kids had, lymphoma, would you want to know about it? Yes. So the thing is, subluxation is no different. It's just ahead of the game. Those symptoms take time to manifest. So that's the kind of feel that you need to have in the practice, and you need to lead people there so that they're going to want to get the kids checked. Okay? There's a lot we can talk about kids, but I'm going to keep moving here. Prepare for your audience. What I meant by that is before I go into the room every time, I was thinking these past 2 weeks before I came here to talk to you guys. is that, whether it's a consultation or a report of findings, we'll go from adjusting, say for 30 or 45 minutes straight, and then we'll have 2 consultations, we'll have, maybe a reassessment. Each time you want to scan that paper, you want to go over, if they're on medications, family health history, where we met them, so that you can go in and you can connect with that person. And Dr. Wallace is going to talk a little bit more about that, but connection is so key. That's what's going to not only get people there, but keep them there and build that trust over time. Okay? So this concept here I want to share with you is basically when you're having a conversation, this is one thing that we train on in the practice. You don't want to, again, educate people about chiropractic right off the bat. Just throw everything at them, You don't just want to dance around it, but you want to lead them there. So, when I do a consultation, I start by hearing them out. My job today, Mike, is pretty easy. It's basically to hear what you have going on, see what you've been doing for it, and then we'll do an assessment and we'll let you know how we can help you. Okay, so I know it's been frustrating. I know you've probably been all kind of specialists and nobody's been able to tell you what's causing these issues, and they'll say, yeah. Okay, well, what we're gonna do today is talk about how your body runs, not what's wrong with you, but what's right with you. What runs your body, which is your central nervous system. And boom, perfect lead in. So you address and you acknowledge that they've been through the whole gamut, right? And thank God those things were there for a last resort, but it should be a first option. So these are all agreement statements, okay? They're we believe statements. And here's the thing, these people in the community, they want this, they believe this, they just don't know what chiropractic is. So you don't wanna, in my opinion, you don't wanna just come hit them over the head with chiropractic. You want to acknowledge that they have an issue, that they've been frustrated trying to figure out what they can do about it, and you reverse engineer that, so you address the problem and then you give them a solution. Okay, and so that's a skill that we've been trying to develop. Talking a little bit about marketing, again, this is a huge topic, but these are a couple of things. I'm gonna talk about our startup period here, Touch. We started in January to March. That was our startup marketing period. And a couple of the things that we had done going business to business were not hitting every little spot we possibly could along the way, but we strategically went to businesses and organizations that we were going to be able to partner with over time, whether it be giving talks to 600 employees or the one at the top there, TheraPlay. That's an organization with 3 different therapy centers, speech, occupational, and physical therapy for kids, right? So that's like ideal because sometimes kids need therapy. They need repetition. We're talking about kids on the spectrum, brainstem right from birth. And when we educate therapists about that, they can educate parents about that. And so here's how this went. 6 months ago, we met them, and then we scheduled a meeting, which happened 2 months later with the clinic director. And then 2 months later, they were able to get the director of all of the clinics to come to our practice about our 3rd week open and see what we had going on there to build value in her eyes. And again, how congruent things were, because they're there, they do something different, but they're there for the well-being of the children. They're trying to keep them off the meds as well. So the philosophy is congruent, and it took another month and a half to do the talk, which was last Friday. We went in and we did a lunch and learn, which again, Dr. Jeremy has blessed us so much with the opportunity to do those through Discover, okay? So take advantage of those opportunities. But we went there and we spoke with them for about 30 minutes. Some of the topics that we covered, and again, wherever you are with your understanding of chiropractic, you want to develop that, but big thing is chronic stress, so sympathetic dominance in the body. With these kids, it's the gas pedal, right? So if we have tension on the spinal cord, it's going to put us in sympathetic dominance. Some of the things I talk to adults about are, what that does, it dilates the pupils, it increases the blood pressure. But a kid who can't sit still and pay attention in school, okay, that's called the gas pedal, that's sympathetic tone. If you have a reverse curve in your neck, it's going to put you in sympathetic dominance. So you can't be in sympathetic and parasympathetic at the same time. So you don't need to get all sciencey, but people understand gas first break. When you're on the gas, it inhibits digestion. So we went over some of these things and the issues that the therapists see. So that happened last Friday. On Wednesday, we got 3 calls from 3 different mothers to bring their 4 and 13-year-old kids in with digestive issues, speech issues. Yeah. So again, that doesn't just happen, but you need to be patient with it. So if stuff doesn't happen, we had talks lined up, they fell through, we had to reschedule them, but you need to be resilient and you need to, not back down. Quest Diagnostics and Amerigas, don't need to touch on them too much. They're big corporations up where we live. First time we approached both of them, stonewall. Can't talk to anybody. You know, you need to leave, you need an appointment. We're not even going to call up to anybody to speak with you. At a 5K run about a month later, we met somebody from AmeriGas. They're having a big health talk, or no, I'm sorry, a health fair in September. And she said she'd be delighted if we would come and serve their 600 employees, right? So you need to follow up on these things. Quest Diagnostics just fell in our lap. That was such a blessing. They're doing a 5K run, the director of their wellness program. And so long story short, we were stonewalled there. She literally walked into our practice to see if we'd sponsor the 5K run. And long story short, everybody gets a tour. So that's the thing. That, you know, I learned that from Dr. Jeremy and Dr. Michael. Everybody gets an educational tour. She got that tour. She had her 2 kids with her and said, "This is amazing. You guys need to come out to Quest Diagnostics." Who literally showed us to the front desk and then showed us the door. Because sometimes that happens. You need to talk to the right people. We're doing a talk on chronic stress there in a couple weeks, and we're going to be at their health fair in September as well. So again, opportunities are created, but you need to take the baby steps, just like the domino thing. You guys got to start moving your feet, okay? A little bit more there, Chambers networking groups. We were in 5 Beach, and there's some of the largest contributions of families in our practice now because we were able to develop that relationship over time. How am I doing on time, guys? Everybody?
Keep going.
We all right? Cool. So this year, this is what we were marketing. So, you know, if you guys are from the north, it was -2 degrees some of the days, and you got to get out there and you got to hit it. How committed are you? And so when I think about that, you saw me getting all teary-eyed like a big baby up here. I think about my family. You know, I think about my anchors, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and then what we're going to create from there. So, you know, it's a pain in the butt sometimes, but you remember why you're doing things. And purpose-driven life, I mean, if you guys know about that, it's vital. You got to be on purpose. So here's one thing you want to think about in your practice. So there's a lack mentality, like Dr. Jeremy said, you know, don't open here. If you meet somebody down my end of town, you know, well, you refer them to me, you know, I'll refer somebody. It's like, bro, we see people from an hour, one lady's coming 3 hours away. It's like, there's so many sick people out there that you just need to get in front of them, all right? And so who do you want to attract? You know, if you have a lack mindset, if you're in scarcity, you know, holding back, you know, you're not in an abundance mindset, you're not going to attract abundance. You're not going to attract family. So again, it comes down to the concept where it's not neck pain and back pain. Yeah, we help with that stuff, but everybody has a nervous system. According to the research, about 85% of the time the atlas, right at the brainstem, gets misaligned from birth. Okay, so why do kids need to get checked? Because they have a nervous system too. I don't care if it's colic, if it's ear infections, if it's reflux, whatever the case is. Okay, kids need to get checked so that healthy kids can become healthy adults. And again, these are things that people believe. They already know this, but they don't know the solution. So reverse engineer that conversation to lead them to where they need to be, and then they're going to want to bring their kids in, bring their spouse in. So that's how a family practice is built. Nora and Angie are a couple moms that are examples of that. Basically, the one's chiropractor actually went to California. The other one moving to this area. We're looking for a pediatric practice, and these are mothers with their daughters who are 4 years old. The others are 6 years old, twins, who are looking for somebody to trust with their kids' health. She said, I visited 4 different chiropractors. Do you take care of kids? Well, no, we see kids. No, that ain't good enough. That's what she told me on Thursday to my face. She's like, that ain't good enough. She's like, when I heard about you guys, I researched on the web. You know, obviously, I did my due diligence. She came in, she got a tour, the excellence with which our team walked in, educating her, and she's like, this is the place. This is what I've been looking for. And that's not to speak about us, but there's a method to this, right? So you do what's right enough and long enough, and the results are predictable. I saw what happened on a regular basis and discovered chiropractic. So that's what we wanted to reproduce. Now here's the nuts and bolts, and I got 13 of them for you. There it is. All right, so I'm just going to roll through these, you guys. If you need to yank me, let me know. All right. So in a report of findings, and these are literally, guys, just some things that I've developed. If you like them, great. You know, build on them. Most of these things I learned from these guys, so take it for what it is. When you're doing a report, when I'm doing a report of findings, for example, of the neck from the side, we're talking about a loss of curve. You know, we point these things out. There's a certain way we go about that. But one of the things that I say is that you see right here, you know, I'll point out the disc degeneration, say C5 or C6. I'll say, you know, Mrs. Jones, you see up here, these discs at the top, they're fairly healthy discs. And right down here at the bottom. So you know what that means? We can definitely get correction. It's just going to take some time. Just like braces, it takes some time and repetition. So it's not all doom and gloom. It's not all fear, scare, care kind of thing. But, you know, if you give them some hope and you're just honest with them, you know, it's not all fused up. Another thing I'll say is, you know, I see people in their 80s and their 90s. You know, it's a lot worse. There's the generation, things are fused up. Yes, we can still help them, but you know what? We can get some good correction here. It's good you're here today. So that's the first one. In the consultation, this goes along the same lines. Again, offering people hope, being honest with them and not watering it down, but letting them know one thing that I've been doing is at the top right corner of the intake paperwork is their age. And so it really doesn't matter what age there is, because it's obviously always better to start now with care than wait and react to things later. So one thing that I'll say is, yeah, you know, I'll just kind of put the board down and I say, you know, Mary, you have a lot going on. You know, we know that. I know you're frustrated with that, but here's the thing. You see this number right here? I'll point to her age, whatever it is, 34. So that's the best number on this paper, because I see people in their 60s and their 70s where, yeah, we can help them, but you know what? Things respond a lot quicker when you're younger. So you give them hope, you give them positivity, okay? A couple lines, you know, those like one-liners. You want to speak life into people. You know, this is one of the biggest things we learned because we had to as we grew in the beginning. My wife was in practice for about 1.5 years before we opened our practice in Pennsylvania, and so she had more practice with this. But me, you know, I'm like, you know, kind of like more, you know, a little introverted. You know, I like to educate people, but you know, being dynamic in the adjusting rooms each time, lifting people up, giving them hope. Sometimes it's the only time of their week or their day they're going to hear something positive. So little things that we, you know, Mr. Jones, you know, we're looking for progress, not perfection. It hurts over here on my right shoulder this time, you know, on the left. So it started on the left, we're going to the right. You know what, Mr. Jones, that's actually a great thing, because that shows we're getting change. Remember your x-rays? And I'll pull them up. You see this right here? As that starts to shift after being like that for 40 years, you're going to see things. So change is good. We're looking for progress, not perfection. And Rick there, I apologize if I'm going fast. I just want to give this all to you guys. Rick, it's kind of funny the way that he actually monitored progress in our office with his care. And bear in mind, this is a guy who came in at 9 out of 10 back pain. Right, when he mowed his lawn, and that's the benchmark that he actually uses now, he had to take 6 different breaks, okay, to mow his lawn. He had to come in and sit down 6 times. And so he was doing great off the bat, 3 weeks. 3 weeks in, big flare up, 9 out of 10 pain. He comes in, Dr. Dan, I don't know what happened. My wife, she's on me. You know, she says I need to go see a specialist. I don't know about all that stuff. I told him, like, listen, Rick, you know how you came in here, you see your x-rays. I said, we're getting progress, but you know what? It's not going to get better overnight. What we need to do, and, you know, I let him know, you put some ice on, whatever you need to do to get him over the hump. But I said, you're going to go through periods that are worse, periods that are better. What we need to do is stay aggressive on this care, and we're going to see you recover over time. So it took like 2 days. You know, he was good to go. And this was, you know, he's been under care about 3 months. And now he cuts his grass without having to take a break, and he's back to walking at the YMCA 2 miles at a time. So that's the kind of stuff that you guys are going to get to see, which is really exciting, really exciting. So again, we're looking for more good days than bad days, Rick. And then, you know, we're always moving towards health or away from health. We want to make sure that we're moving towards health every day, and that takes action steps. So your adjustments, every time you get up off the table, subluxation is reducing. Communication between your brain and body. It's all neurology. It ain't back pain, it ain't neck pain. So brain's better communicating with your body. How do you think you're going to be 10 years from now with your brain communicating? That's awesome. Yeah, you know. So these are some of the things we're developing, you know, as young doctors. So here's one. 50% my job, 50% your job. We try to make this clear and address objections before they happen. So doctors report before the report of findings. And then, you know, at reassessments, Mrs. Jones, you've been doing great making your appointments. You know, I see people that come in here and they don't prioritize it. You know, if they're recommended to come 3 times a week for the first couple weeks, and they're here, you know, every other week or once a week, they're not going to get the results that you've been getting. You know, you need to be consistent. You've been doing a great job. On the converse, if somebody's not, you know, doing that, you know, some of the things, because it's true, they're not going to get the results if they're slacking, and it's more important to go to the beach and on a regular basis. You know, 50% my job. We're going to take care of you, but it's 50% your job to be here, to be consistent so that we can make progress, because if you're not here, then I can't help you. And that might sound like a simple thing, but that's kind of one of the things the past month or so in the summer here, we've been kind of up and down with a little bit. Some people not being as consistent as we'd like them to. Another thing that I say here, number 7, is multiple times throughout the practice, but most of the time when I'm going over their day 1 close or explaining their assessment, you know, I'll let them know, especially if they're a little skeptical, or, you know, one of my CAs will get a read on them from the tour. Hey, they were asking a lot of questions, they don't know about this, whatever. I'll, again, eye contact, respectfully but boldly, let them know, listen, Mr. Jones, if I get 10 minutes to talk to you, I'm not going to water this down. Because what you're going to hear in this office is something that you don't hear anywhere else in healthcare. So there's a lot, I know you've been through a lot. Again, you acknowledge the injections, the MRIs, all the kind of stuff that they've done. So I'm not going to water it down. What I'm going to tell you is going to change your life. So you need to connect with people. And so, again, you need to be bold. And again, you're not going to, if you're talking to an 80-year-old lady who's very quiet, you need to address that differently than a construction worker who's 30 and thinks, he can handle it, So, again, the idea of a first option versus the last resort, okay, that goes along those same lines. So people are jumping to the surgeries, to the injections, the Rothman Institute, whatever it is where you guys are. They jump to this stuff, and it's like, hey, you're 34. Don't you think that we should address the root cause of that rather than jump into the surgery or get into pain management? What's that doing for you? People are frustrated with it. You just need to provide them the solution. And here's the last couple things I'm going to wrap up. The most destructive factor in our healthcare system is the idea or the mindset that if I feel fine, I'm healthy. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Then if I hurt, I'll do something about it, which is treat the symptoms. So I'll repeat that for you. The most destructive factor in our healthcare system today, the leading road of death and destruction in our country, is the mindset that if I feel fine, I'm healthy. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If I hurt, then I'm going to do something about it. So it's that reactive mindset. Okay? So if I have high blood pressure and I take a medication, it lowers that down artificially. Is that person healthy? Heck no. And they'll answer, they say, no, they're not healthy because whatever's causing that blood pressure to be high is still there. Okay, so these are some of the things you need to lead them and guide them. And then when you do their assessment, you explain what it means. They're locked in and they're ready to sign up for care and get addressed the cause of their issue. And Dr. Mike will always say, just don't fumble it. At the goal line, when they're there for the report of findings, they're already wanting to sign up, or they should be. They want to get under care because you've led them to that point. So you need to learn how to lead them to that point. Okay, last couple things. I already said that one. Okay, again, what's right with you? Again, you want to add positivity in there. You don't want to be all doom and gloom. You need to let them know that you were designed to be healthy. You weren't created to have, sciatica and indigestion and be on an inhaler every time that you go walking. There's something causing that, so we need to look at how your body's designed. Again, right back to the ANS chart and explaining in the central nervous system. And these last two things are something that I do when I explain, whether at a screening or whether it's an assessment in the office or reassessment. One thing that I always reiterate to people, because they judge their health most times on how they feel, is that, Mrs. Jones, when we're reading this nerve assessment, what this is reading, you see these nerves right here, and I'll point to the spine model. What these are, they're called mixed nerve roots. Okay, and I go over that with them. So if you know what that means, great. What I say to them is that, you can tell me where you hurt, right? What this assessment is reading and where and how severe any pressure and irritation is on your nervous system. So these mixed nerve roots, and I'll draw a circle. I was going to have an image here for you guys. What I do is I draw a circle on the paper. This is just a mixed nerve root, a cross section looking in at the end of it. And about 10%, I draw a little circle on the bottom with an S on it. It's sensory. It perceives, and I draw 3 lines: pain, temperature, vibration, so things you can feel. The other 85 to 90%, and I'll draw a line in the top portion, deals with how your body's functioning. Okay, so what this assessment is going to show us is not just where you hurt, but where your nervous system has pressure on it. So the nerves going to your pancreas, the nerves going to your thyroid gland. Okay, we want them functioning correctly, don't we? You get agreement. Okay, and then the last thing here, we do torque release technique in the practice. And so after the first adjustment, we get them off the table, and I explain to them a few things about the integrator and about what the torque component is, and about how it allows us to be more specific with our adjustments. So I say, Mrs. Jones, this torque component of a torque release technique, these bones can shift, and I'll do my hands like this. They can shift up and back, they can shift side to side, but they can also tilt left and they can tilt right. And that's what the torque component does. It helps to address that third dimension, the misalignment. And I'll show them on the integrator how it turns. I'll fling the business card across the room, with that. But they get that. And so people always want to know, whether they ask you outright or not, how are you different? How is what you do better than the Rackham Crackham chiropractic that, hurt my uncle and, gave a stroke to my aunt or whatever? So you want to let them know and build that value over time. And so that's really the nuts and bolts. I hope that was helpful for you guys. Okay. Because I just want to close by saying I'm so humbled and honored to be here. Again, it's really a joy, and I hope you guys will follow up. I'm going to see you the rest of tonight and tomorrow morning, but get on Facebook, email us, whatever. We're here for you, my wife, we're here for you guys. We want to help you be successful as well. So we're going to bring up next speaker here.
And that was awesome. I love listening to his humble heart when he talks, and it's just so genuine from start to finish. You guys don't leave. You're going to miss out on an unbelievable speaker, and it's me. That's funny. Next weekend we are hosting a free conference for all of you guys, your friends, your family. There's childcare, there's everything. Down at the Atlanta Marriott Marquis, so it's right downtown. It's our AMPed conference, our live event. It's going to be our biggest ever. We're expecting over 700 people at this conference. It's 100% free. There's nothing there for you to buy. Excuse me. If you want to go to our financial luncheon, we're doing a luncheon, and we're just doing it at cost because we want to host an event during lunch there at the hotel. So it's $35 per person, but that's the cost for doing it at a hotel, which you'll find out when you do events at hotels, that their food and beverage is ridiculous. So it's $35 for you, but we're going to be going through all financials in practice. From day one closes to report of findings, family plans, financial audits and accounts, reimbursements, all that sort of stuff, working with cash plans versus insurance and everything between. A lot of really important information for us in this generation of chiropractic. I'm very hesitant to listen to people that have been in practice for 25 or 30 years. There's a conference going on right now in town. It's a wonderful conference. It's wonderful people talk all about love, but they're just dinosaurs running it. And they talk like, yeah, you just gotta love people. You just gotta love them. I love people. That does not mean they're gonna walk in the front doors of my practice. It doesn't work like that. You have to build relationships based upon trust in this healthcare system, in this economy, in this generation of chiropractic. So that is, you can go to amped, AMPED, now.com/event to register for you and your family. It's a team conference. We're gonna have guest speakers. We have some powerhouse females presenting at this event. We have a huge heart for diversity in chiropractic. Asian, African American, females, guys with beards, dudes that look like they're dudes, but they're not beards, so it's questionable. And everything in between. We want diversity. And so we have an event that's wrapped around that diversity of people that are husband and wives in practice, practicing together, where the wife is the DC, the husband is the office manager. That's KP. There's all kinds of things that we have at these events that I think will be a lot of fun for you and your family. So that's next weekend. Friday night, there's a social at 8 p.m. So you can come just mingle, eat some tapas. There's a bar, if that's your thing. Then Saturday is just a grind all day. Just unbelievable information all day from start to finish. And guest speakers, like I said, financial luncheon and everything in between. We're going to have panels in our Jumpstart program, where offices are just opening and what they're doing in practice, pretty cool. And then Sunday morning is our virtual office setting where we're going to do some team training, different things that you can do with our teams to build dynamic teams. Let's get to it. This is my pleasure to introduce the next speaker. I walked through school for some of the schooling with him. I met him sort of after I was done at a conference. And I remember just like Dan McClyman, when I met Dan McClyman, was just in this room over here. I came back to see a couple of my friends present at their last meeting of a club that they're running on campus. And I had raised those leaders up before I graduated. In fact, I baptized the majority of them in the Chattahoochee, which was like kind of like a spiritual cleansing, but definitely probably got a staph infection at the same time. But it was gangrenous. There was one. I was going to see them off, and I got to meet Dan McClyman. And I knew from that moment that there was something very special about that man, that he was going to do some really, really extraordinary things in chiropractic. He was just getting started. I remember when I met Dan Wallace, and when he told me, he said, man, I'm going back to Colorado. I'm from Colorado. I went to Colorado University, and the University of Colorado, it's a lame school, but it's in the middle of the state. And he actually was, kind of a neat tidbit about Dan is that, what's the Buffalo's name? Ralphie? He was actually one of the guys that would run with the Buffalo onto the field during the football games. You know what I'm talking about? And it's unbelievable. He's got some phenomenal pictures with him running with his animal. He did some very unique things, always excelled before he got to school. When I met Dan, I knew that he was going to excel through school and into practice. But there was a crossroads for Dan, and he may talk about this tonight, so I don't want to get into it. But I remember where I was when I spoke with him. He came out and done events for me. He worked with us in the practice. I trust him and his wife very, very much. They came out to Colorado to serve our practice many times. In fact, this little dinky, he comes out and represents my practice, gets on the cover of a newspaper doing an event. I've never been on the cover of a newspaper. They're like Dr. Dan Wallace serving the masses over here in Evergreen. And I'm like, this guy's next day, he's like, looking the part. Do you still have that frame? I framed that first. You don't have it. What a dinky. And so I was like, that freaking guy got on the cover of the newspaper. I was like, you're freaking kidding me. I was like, I've been serving my brains out, my eyes are falling out of my head. This guy comes out for like 15 minutes. And then, I mean, you can see his smile. I understand why. But he and his wife had a little bit of a crossroads where they were starting to question what they really thought they wanted to do in practice. And I'll never forget, there was a shift in his voice where he went from like humble student to kind of a little bit of like, I kind of know what it's going to be like. And I'm telling you, Mike. And I knew at that moment I had to tell him what I thought gently and sit back and let him figure it out. And it wasn't long before he figured it out and he came back. He said, man, I'm ready. And the rest is history. So this guy comes out, you see him and Elise serving all of these events and these corporations, these banks, these small businesses, doing talks, walking like they've been in practice for 10 years. I said, man, they're going to do something special. We gave them everything that we could possibly know in order to help them be equipped. And a lot of people always credit me as one of the fastest growing practices in chiropractic history. We had 178 visits our first week. This cat did 193. 193. You know, 191? That's a humble heart. 191. You know, sometimes you got to count when you hit the atlas from right back to the left. That counts as 2. 191 visits his first week. So he outdid us. I think that's great. I was so excited to find out. I knew it was going to happen. But I was so excited to find it. 238 his second week. Now they're right between 250 and 300 visits, right around the 280 mark right now, as they're just forging ahead. One of the greatest things that you're going to see besides his humble spirit is that he's got a 100% congruent spouse. I got to tell you, you got to surround yourself with people that see your dreams and support your vision, right? And he has that in a very, very powerful life. And they are a dynamic team. They're humble servants. They're going to continually break records. And they want to give you everything that they know so that you can break their records. And that's the way it's supposed to be. I humbly present to you Dr. Dan Wallace.
Wow. Kind of talked me up there, guys. Don't expect too much. Okay, it's just me. First of all, how about these guys so far? My goodness, Dr. Dan McClyman. My goodness, guys, give it up for this guy. Dr. Jeremy Hess, most of you guys know this, but he's the man behind all this stuff. He's taught us everything that we know, guys. Everything we know, we learned from this guy, from Dr. Michael Viscoz. Give me a round of applause as well. And he mentioned it briefly. We just kind of let it run by the wayside. Today is Dr. Daniel McClyman's birthday. All right, so I'm not just going to let that go. I'm not just going to let that go. Bring some energy up in here. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Dan McClyman, please forgot. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Yes. Awesome. So cool. So cool, guys. Such an honor for me tonight to be up here in front of you guys. Yeah, like they said, we graduated in December, just a few months back, and I was so humbled and honored to get to do the whole time with that guy over there, Dr. Dan McClyman. You guys got to surround yourself with people that are going to push it. Okay, so right from the beginning, we did everything together. I mean, it was like, whatever he was doing, I was doing. I was so impressed by that guy all the time. Him and his now wife, Dr. Megan McClyman, they're amazing guys. We don't know them, get to know them, but we got to do it all together. We got to go through everything together, do our peak process together. And I don't think it's any secret that we're doing similar things. As soon as we graduate, surround yourself with the right people. Okay, and some of you guys really got to think that through. I know, all right, because I was at school with you. Okay, so tonight I want to talk a little bit about defining your vision. Okay, getting some clarity in this thing. I think while we're in school, it's really, really easy to get cloudy. Okay, Dr. Michael touched on that. It happened to me. It happened to me pretty significantly, where I went through a bit of a bump where I was like, what the heck am I going to do? Maybe this isn't it. Maybe I want to do this and that and do some different things and bring in this and do that. And so it's, you know, whatever it was, guys, it got really, really, really cloudy for about 3 months. Okay, and then thankfully my wife being one of the main things, and Dr. Michael and Dr. Jeremy, they said, you know what, man, we're here for you. And got punched in the face. You know, when Dr. was talking about that, I got nailed during the job. Snapped out of it, okay? And so tonight I want to talk a bit about that. Defining your vision, the preparation, and the execution that it takes to go from dreams to reality. I think for a lot of us, talking about going from vision to reality, vision without goals, you really need to start to set some goals for yourself. Okay, you're gonna write that down. Set some goals, because vision without goals is just dreams. No one likes a dreamer. Dreamers are super annoying, okay? Dave Ramsey said that. He said, if you don't have goals, and you say you've got these visions, do all these wonderful things, and you don't commit to any of those goals, you're just dreaming. And that's just frustrating. Okay, dreamers don't get anything done, ever, okay? The dreamer right now is the guy who's in your class, who's out of Sweetwater right now, talking to all the first quarter girls about how successful he's gonna be. It drives me crazy. Guys, I mean, come on, I'm not throwing stones. Okay, we've been there. I'm throwing some stones, pretty hard. Okay, because guess why? Because it's relevant. Okay, we just graduated a few months ago, and who do you think gets more calls and emails from our classmates now than ever before? When have you guys been in school while I was in school? Yeah, most of you. Okay, so now the rest of you know I'm not lying. I just graduated, okay? You probably got a little bit annoyed with Dan McClyman and I coming to all your classes, telling you to come to all these events all the time, okay? And some of you, it took a little while, but you're here, glad you are. Here's the deal. A lot of my classmates wouldn't do it. They say, oh, yeah, we know we're done. Dude, I met a guy, I got this book, you know, I'm just reading that. It's going to be amazing. Haven't heard from him until I hear from him and go, okay, what are you doing? Now what are you doing? It's so much harder now when loans are due. We have 6 months after you graduate, your loans are due. Things are coming together. They're trying to find jobs, looking for docs that are hiring for associateships. Guys, you want to do, you know, make maybe a $40,000 a year salary? No. Do that in your first few weeks after you're open, okay? Let's do that, right? Here's the thing, guys. Define your vision and develop some clarity in your life. That's going to be the most important thing. You've got to do that now. Okay, so we're going to talk about some of this stuff, because right now, some of you guys don't realize it. Who's below third quarter here? Seriously. Okay, nobody here is below third quarter? All right, so we got to encourage some of the new people to get out to this stuff, guys, okay? Who's anybody below seventh quarter? We're in the home stretch, okay? You guys are in the home stretch. It might not feel like it. Here's the deal. You're like, how do you take part one, Dr. Dan? You're in the home stretch. The moment that you set foot on this campus, you're in the home stretch. It's go time. Okay, you're coming around third and you're going for home, because coming out of undergrad, that's when you made the decision to become a chiropractor, and now you're in the home stretch. Okay, so too many people are taking too much time to just kind of take it easy. Oh, you know, I have my biochem test. I've got this stuff. I got OSCEs. Okay. And I was there. You know, trust me, you're not busy yet. You're not. Okay, continue to push, continue to prepare. You're going to need every single ounce of that endurance as soon as you come out. You're in the home stretch right now, where you have to dig deep and decide, okay, I want to open my own office. Who wants to open your own office? Really? Really? Okay. All right. And everything that goes with that, have you thought deeply about it? Every single one of you wants to be an entrepreneur. How many of you realize that you're not a chiropractic technician, you're a business owner? You want to be an entrepreneur? You run a business. Okay, absolutely. Very good. Okay, I'm getting some heck yeah. I love that. Can I get an amen? I love it. Oh my gosh, that's phenomenal. Yes, right now is the home stretch, guys. Right now is the time that you dig your heels in. Okay, it's not ninth quarter. It's not 10th quarter. It's not an outpatient clinic. Because guess what? It's too late. It's too late by that point, but it's not too late. So we know people that have done it, but you got to go triple time at that point. Okay, but now's the time to dig in. You know why? Because when you graduate, and all of you almost want to open up your own practice, You got to know what it looks like to get your business insurance. You got to have workers' comp. I just had a quarterly taxes for payroll. I mean, there's so many things that you don't know. There's so many things I don't know. You know, we don't text Dr. Hess about like how to do things in practice to be prepared for that. We text him about like, okay, I don't have any idea what I need for this workers' comp insurance, all this stuff, guys. There's so much that you got to know that the chiropractic piece, you got to be so clear and laser focused on that if you're clouding on that at all, it's not going to happen for you. I promise. And so that's why we got to get your friends out here to say, you know what? Because in school, I know it's tough. You're learning so many different things right now about hour and a half exams, and you got to blood pressure everybody, and you got to do this stuff. There's no way. Okay, it's not necessary, guys. Chiropractic works. Chiropractic works by itself, and I want to talk about that. Okay, but right now you're in the home stretch. It's time to dig in. Because here's the deal: clarity in everything that you're doing, when you're digging in, that's what opens the door to opportunity. As soon as you finally decide, okay, third, fourth, fifth quarter, this is clearly what I'm going to do and what I want to do for myself. I have vision on my business. Okay, I know what I want to look like. Maybe I know where it wants to be. Okay, I can start thinking about some of these things. Who's my demographic? Who am I going for? Do I want to see kids or do I want to see more athletes? Either one, guys. It's great stuff. You don't all have to do the exact same things that we do. That's the great thing. You can define your vision for yourself, but you got to put in some action steps. Okay? I had this down. I want to see what this says. Okay, this is a good one. Anybody ever heard of the book, The Richest Man in Babylon? That's where I got this. Okay, I get people all the time. They send me messages and they're like, man, you're so lucky to like have that office. And it's got to be so cool. It's like you're doing this stuff. I'm like, yeah, man, thank you. You know, we're very blessed. We're very fortunate. Are super humbled by that. But here's the thing, this quote, I took this out the other day, it says, would you call a fisherman lucky who for years studies the habits of the fish that within each changing wind would cast his nets about them? Opportunity is a haughty beast who wastes no time with those who are unprepared. You guys want to write that down. Opportunity is a haughty beast who wastes no time with those who are unprepared. Your clarity that you're developing right now, okay, with what I want to do, this is how I want to do it. I want to serve the masses, guys. I want to detect and correct vertebral subluxation, specificity, do it in a great way. That comes on the other side over here is opportunity. Okay, those opportunities don't arise until you're perfectly clear. But guess what's in the middle? Guess what's in the middle of that gap? Preparation. Preparation for that stuff is what it takes. Okay, those opportunities don't arise, and they don't just come to you until you're ready for them. Because as soon as you walk across that stage and you go, okay, you know what, I'm a doctor of chiropractic, and you get your license, no one else cares, okay? Your family's proud of you, we're proud of you, Amp's gonna give you a high five, last tour, you know, whatever. Here's the deal, your confidence and your clarity and what you're gonna do in your business, that's what's gonna speak to your community. With a license, they expect that you're gonna be a great chiropractor. It's your clarity in everything that you're doing, the confidence at which you present it, that's going to open the doors up to those opportunities that we're seeking to open our businesses. You guys follow me? Yeah. Get something out of this, okay? All right, is it okay for you guys? Yeah. Okay. All right, very good. Here's the deal. Those opportunities are where we're going, okay? So right now, it's time to dial in your focus, okay? When you're doing that, ask for help, guys. Ask for help. When you know what you want to do, it's time to ask for help. None of us did any of this by ourselves, okay? Thank the Lord. You know, we met amazing men and women in our lives that were willing to say, this is what we want to do. This is how you're going to do it, okay? We had questions to ask. My wife, she's amazing, by the way. Her name's Elise. If you haven't got to meet her, she is like my entire world. She's unbelievable. I absolutely love that girl. We spent like 28 hours a day together because we're in the practice together, and I can't freaking wait to get home tomorrow night, okay, to see that thing, right? You guys are going to get to be with her, okay? We came out because we want to serve you guys if you want to be here, but she's going to take some time. I was like, go have a glass of wine with your friends tomorrow, go get your nails done, have some fun. You know what I mean? She's been busting her rear end, serving our community, so we want to take some time and rest. That's what you guys are going to get to do. It's amazing. Here's the deal. Ask for help. She got to serve in these offices. She served for 6 months in an office, Sam and Claire Stewart, they're in Tennessee. Unbelievable people, guys. Huge practice. He served over 800 visits a week in there. Elise had the opportunity to serve in there. Dr. Michael flew us out dozens of times, let us screw up in his practice. Dr. Hess, I got to go out there and sweep floors and clean toilets. And, here's the deal. That's where it starts, guys. And then you get the opportunities to do things. You serve first. You know, you give back a little bit, right? Learn to, you know, kind of give a little, right? Then we'll give you everything we got. Everything we got. I get so many people that come out and just come in and, high-five me and take a bunch of pictures in my office and leave, I'll be open for it. Next month will be 2 months, or next week, sorry. At the end of next week will be two months of practice, okay? And we guys just had a break and stuff. A bunch of people come in, it's awesome, some great people. But so many people just walk in and just say, hey, what's going on? And take a bunch of pictures, start opening my drawer. Dr. Michael used to talk about this. Then I experienced it. I didn't even know these people from Adam, right? And that's cool. And I still want to help you guys out, but I want to help the people that are wanting to dive in. Okay, if you're really willing to dive in, come out, let's do some events with Teacher, because just taking photos of where I put things isn't going to make you successful. I promise. Okay? It's actually getting your hands dirty and diving in and doing some of this stuff. Okay, so clarity in what you're doing is going to open up some doors to those opportunities. Okay, you cannot over-prepare in any way. I can't emphasize that enough. If I could tell you anything that we went through over the last 6 months, it's that thank the Lord we didn't have to think for a second about how we were going to run our office. That was clear. We knew that. We prepared the heck out of that. Thankfully, these guys, we were ready for that. Because there's so much that's thrown at you when it comes to getting your lease done, getting your capital raised, okay, getting your build out done. Anybody ever managed a team before? Okay, hired and fired people? Okay, had them come on. It is an unbelievable whirlwind of stuff you got to figure out. So that's why I'm saying it starts now. It starts now to get clear on chiropractic and on exactly what you want to do. You guys follow me? Very good. All right. On this one, okay, those opportunities now, after you get your preparation, those opportunities only arise from connection. I am passionate. I really think that one of the biggest keys to being successful quickly is your ability to connect with another human quickly. Building that connection, okay, quickly establishing that one-to-one, that, hey, I'm here with you, and I care about you. I think that your ability to make a connection oftentimes just depends on how much you actually value that other person that you're with or that group of people that you're in front of. Okay, opportunities come from connection. Dr. Daniel Klein, he was just saying, it took some time to get through some of these barriers and some of these talks and things like that. You build a connection with one person, boom, you're in. Okay, and that ability, you don't have to be an amazing public speaker or these different things. I think that's a huge skill. And I'd encourage you guys, if you're not, there's so many opportunities here in life to do that. Get in front of people. There's clubs that just do that. Okay, go do Talk the Tick, do this stuff. Get in front of people, okay? If you're not comfortable with it, get comfortable. Learn to communicate well, chiropractic, but also learn a valuable skill of human-to-human connection. Okay, I'm gonna talk about why here in a second. That's how the opportunities rise. This right here is a picture. I didn't show you guys this picture before, by the way, when I was talking about, let's see, yeah, right here. Making sure that you understand that you're in the home stretch. That picture on your right is at our ribbon cutting. And then that picture on the left is, the $19 walk-in chiropractor. Okay, I illustrate that to show you guys what the difference has to be. I don't think anybody's in school right now being like, you know what? I'd really love to just run a $19 walk-in facility. I really highly doubt that. Okay, maybe it is your sole purpose. You're just like, I just want to serve people and not really have to worry about schedule stuff. And if it is, that's fine. Okay, let's learn some Vinny. Everybody, Vinny QBL is that guy who used to do that. No, he pointed at himself. Don't him. Okay, listen to you guys. My goodness. Okay. But yeah, and it's sad, guys. It's sad. And it happens because people have no idea. A lot of my friends didn't want to go be associates in pain clinics. There they are. Okay, injections into knees. I don't think I learned how to do that in school. I learned how to detect and correct subluxation. Okay, that's what I do, and that's what I do very well. Okay, that is good. That is good. All right. Now this one, that one there. Opportunity comes through correction. Connection, excuse me. That's one of the most profitable health talks that we ever did. Okay, there's 45 people there. We did this talk at an insurance company. I spent a pretty good bit of money on it. Like, we catered the meal, got them some breakfast. Okay, I spent about $150 on them. Okay, and on a health talk, okay, people are like, I would never spend $150 on a health talk. Okay, here's the deal. We estimate that it's returned itself about 100 times. Okay, in the last 6 weeks. Okay, and so many people came in, got x-rays, paid in full for their care, and then when they start talking, guess what happens? Their coworkers are like, what are you guys doing? They're coming in. We've got about 25 people under care now from that one health talk. Okay, the reason I show you guys this is that's just from one connection. That's one connection that we made with a human-to-human interaction. We said, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we do, this is why we love it, it's amazing. This guy happened to be the president of that company. He said, yeah, would you come in and do that for us? That'd be awesome. Like, yeah, absolutely. We'd love to. And then you have to deliver the goods, okay? And that's where it's going next. When you get the shot, you can't stink, okay? You go out there and you have to be awesome. Guess where that comes from? Preparation, right? By the time you get to go out and do one of these talks, Dr. Hess just said this, you don't want that first time you do it to be the first time you do it. Do it in front of your friends. Get awkward. Get in front of your friends where it's like, oh gosh, this is so dumb. I don't want to give my 10-minute talk right now. But you have to do it. I know it feels weird. It's so much harder. Trust me, it's so much harder in front of your peers than it is in front of anybody else. When we train our teams, and we're like, all right, let's go through our day one, and let's go through phones, all this stuff. It's so awkward. They hate it. You know what I mean? And we're like, we all have to do it, so I do mine too. And it's so much harder in front of your peers, but you don't want that first time that you go out to try to hit a home run to be when you're swinging the bat the first time. You don't want that to be it, okay? You ain't gonna hit the ball if you don't swing the bat. And if you don't know how to swing, nothing's gonna happen, okay? So prepare that stuff, because by the time you get that chance, you want it to be great. So are you guys confident enough that when the opportunity presents itself, you can deliver? Again, going back, running your business, okay? There's so much involved with that. And make no mistake, guys, I am not like the all-knowing encyclopedia of how to run a business. I screw up stuff every single day and text these guys on, how should I set this thing up, and what am I doing here? And thank the Lord, we're still moving forward, right? And it's tough. There's so much to know. But where you have to have that clarity is in the chiropractic. Can you manage a team? Can you inspire a team? First couple of weeks are going to be tough, you know what I mean? And they're not as dialed in as you are, you know what I mean? And so you got to encourage them, inspire them to keep pushing along. Okay, then when it comes time for the reassessments, testimonials are coming in, then your team gets fired up. That's a tough part of practice, guys. Okay, it's a challenging piece is your team and managing them. But can you inspire them? Do you know enough that you can deliver the goods with confidence enough that you can inspire a team to want to take action as well alongside you? That's a big deal. Okay, very, very important. What's that last one? I can't see it. Oh yeah, and there's the biggest one of all. Okay, to inspire a practice member to take responsibility. Because here's the thing about that. All right, here's the big 3 C's in my opinion, okay? Clarity that you get from the beginning, deciding what you want to do, plus your ability to effectively and efficiently communicate the message of chiropractic and establish a connection. That's how you create influence in people's lives. When you create influence in their lives, guess what they're going to do? Take an inspired action step to take responsibility for their own health. Okay, and I tell this to people during my doctor's report. I say, it is not my job to take a lasso and throw it around you guys and try and drag it up a hill. And same with you guys as students in chiropractic, okay? It is my job to get my butt the heck out of the way so that you can take an inspired action step forward. That's the only way that you're gonna be successful. Is that fair? That's the only way that they're gonna be successful in their health. And they get that, they go, yeah. Because when you can create influence in their lives and they're gonna make that decision that, you know what, I wanna do something about this. I tell people every day when I do health talks, even my doctor's report, I say, you know what, some of you guys right now just think that you were dealt a bad hand of cards. That, maybe that was a mistake. Maybe, I've had these problems for so long, I immediately have to run to the medicine cabinet and do something about it. It's kind of just dealt a bad hand of cards. It's in my family, it's in my genes, I just have to have it. I was like, I just disagree. I totally disagree. You were not a mistake. You were made perfectly, wonderfully, to divinely function and heal at 100% every single time. Is that a fact or is that a fact? That's a fact, isn't it? Heck yeah. Okay? That's how you create influence in somebody saying, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. My body is made well. Maybe it is made well. Maybe I should do something about this. And I say, you know what? I'm going to give you the opportunity to do that. I'm going to take down some of the barriers for you to get the help that you need. And that's how they move forward, guys. If somebody comes to our doctor's reports, it's rare they don't get under care. It really is at this point, okay? And that's not anything that we're doing. Let me make something really clear before I move forward. Don't be impressed by me. Don't be impressed by me. Don't be impressed by my wife. Be impressed by my wife. She's good. Okay? But don't be impressed by us, guys. We're not doing. You want to be impressed by something? Okay, you be impressed by the creator of the universe. Okay, that gave us all this stuff, that gave us the opportunity to do this and serve the masses and do all this stuff. You're impressed by something. Be impressed by him. Okay, I'm not gonna shy away from that. But here's the deal. All we're doing is we're doing what we're taught. Okay, we're doing a good job at it. We're really diving in. Okay. What's real for us, you've heard this a bunch of times now, but I want everybody in this room to get this, because a lot of you don't. What's real for us is real for anybody who's willing to jump in. But we're not there yet. We're not perfect, guys. It's a grind. It's not easy. Many of you guys think that any of this stuff's easy. It's not. okay? You really have to push, you really have to dive in and know what you want to do and really be confident about it and hone in heavily on your why, okay? Why are we doing this, okay? This is why we're doing this stuff, guys. Okay? You can see some of the pics there. That's our practice. That's from our ribbon cutting. That's one of our doctor's reports that my wife is opening up there a couple weeks ago. Why we do this and why we have this, all this stuff, this whole thing, why we come out here and talk to you guys, this is why. This is from last week, okay? We had a bunch of reassessments last week. I want to share this with you guys. Why we do this, why we have all this stuff, why I'm here with you guys today, why we keep grinding, okay? 23-year-old female comes in with headaches, nausea, migraines, numbness, can't move her head more than 5 degrees forward, 6 degrees back, 4 degrees to the right and left. She's 23 years old. For 8 months, she's been going through this. Been to every single PT in our town, tried everything. After 12 adjustments, totally healed, completely gone. No more headaches, no more migraines. She went on her honeymoon, she's feeling better. A 35-year-old female, she comes in, she's in so much pain I couldn't even touch her. If any of you guys know torque release, it's ridiculously gentle. I couldn't even hardly adjust her because she was in so much pain. Tons of medication. She was on 13 different medications. We did her reassessment the other day. She was in tears. She told me, I have less anxiety and I'm off 2 of my blood pressure medications. Chiropractic is enough. It works, guys. 28-year-old male, he comes in, he can't even hardly ride his bike. He's in so much pain in his upper neck. Gone, totally healed. 68-year-old female, severe sciatic pain, hadn't had a full night of sleep in over 10 years. Came in the adjustment room, she's on her face, she's crying. She said, you know what? I slept last night, I had 0 pain going down my leg. 64-year-old male, he couldn't hardly ride his horse, he was walking, couldn't do anything about it. Specific scientific chiropractic adjustments, no more pain. His nervous system's healed, his body's healing. 28-year-old female, we got to know her. She came in because she had digestive issues. People aren't coming in for back pain, guys. They need help. She had digestive issues. It's horrible. She couldn't digest her food. Terrible diarrhea, chronic constipation, healed. 70-year-old male, bedwetting and chronic constipation. His mother gave a testimonial at our first dinner with the doc. Totally healed. Completely gone. Totally healed of that stuff, guys. That's why we do what we do. That's last week. Make no mistake, okay? It's not always rainbows and butterflies. There's some trials, there's some hardships, but just like Dr. Dan McClimon said, the good things outweigh the tough things by 1.5 miles. Okay, it's unbelievable. It's so fun. And some people it takes longer. That's why you have to know you're clear in your message and explain to them when their reassessment looks worse, when the lady's back pain feels worse. When the guy comes into my practice and only wants me to adjust his rib, I try to explain to him and love him. It's not what we do. He runs out of my office cussing at me. That's tough. You know what I mean? Stuff like that, guys. It can be tough. But you know what? We're clear in our message. And our community is getting it. And that's what we want for you guys, is to develop that clarity and that confidence. That's why we're here. Guys, I'm so humbled to be in front of you guys today. I want you to know that we're here for you. I want you to ask questions. Okay, Dr. Viscarelli said this to me. Said this in a group years ago. He said, you know, our practice is open. We want you to call. We want you to text me, get in touch with you. Most of you won't. That's the reality. That hit me pretty hard. Most of you won't. Most of you won't. Most of my class didn't, and most of them are now. Okay, but most of you won't. Find somebody who you trust. Ask them questions. Dive in. Move forward in this stuff. Get your friends here. Let's forge chiropractic excellence together. Okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all. All right. Next to me, stay up here. All right. You guys having fun tonight so far, by the way? You guys having a good time tonight. My goodness. Yeah. You guys getting something out of this? We're doing okay? All right, good. So many of you guys have heard of a young bearded gentleman. He's Italian. His name is Dr. Michael Viscarelli. You know, when I met Dr. Michael, he kind of told you how we met, and he was the first guy in my life. For those of you that don't know, I grew up in chiropractic, okay? I was adjusted from the time I was very young. I was very, very fortunate in that. But he was the first guy ever to really kind of kick me in the teeth and say, you know what, you want to do this, and you got to get ready for it. In a really, obviously, a loving way. He was like, look, man, he's like, I want to help you. I'll never forget, after one of these events, I came up and I was talking to him. I was like, man, this guy. You know, he sent me an email, and the next day he was like, this is what I want you to do this quarter. Like a list of action steps. I sent him back that email a few weeks ago before we opened, because that email completely changed my road in chiropractic. Completely turned me on to the idea of subluxation-based chiropractic. I grew up in chiropractic. I never really got it. This is the first guy that did that for me. He is called the student guardian. This man, while growing in office to over 1,300 visits a week in his first year, 500 a week in 10 weeks, guys, has done way faster than all of us. I mean, we're still trying to push for this guy. He has started 3 other companies, changing chiropractic with Dr. Hess. Guys, they're moving around the country. All of these offices, they're opening up quickly because of what these guys are doing. Humble servants, guys, still running these practices while giving back to the profession in huge ways, donating their research, giving up their time to you guys to teach us, all of us, you know, how to do this at a higher level. There's no greater honor in my life than to introduce my mentor, my great friend, and one of the giants in chiropractic. Guys, get excited, put your hands together for Dr. Mike Viscarella.
I'll keep it quick because Jeremy spoke for an hour and 45 minutes, saying everything I was going to say. See, guys, thanks for coming. Shit, everybody walks out when I start talking. Try not to take it personally, I know I'm a prick. But, I'm going to sit because if I try to walk with this microphone, I'm going to be tied up. I'm going to be embarrassed because with a wire attached to my hands, you'll see how much I talk with my hands. And people say, as a presenter, you shouldn't really be distracting. And I watched myself talk one time on video, and it was distracting because I was like, my hands were in my pants, they're down my pants, they're around my pants. I was like, got problems. I should probably take a class on public speaking. I want to share with you guys, I will keep it quick because I don't want to keep you guys here too late. We've got a lot of like meat and potatoes in the morning. But I just like listening to these guys, it just brings me such joy. It reminds me of when I was in club on campus, and the first thing that I did when I became leader of a club that was on campus, which I had served for a couple of years before I became a leader, the first week I spoke when they introduced me a leader, and the second week I replaced myself. And I'd already had my eyes set on individuals that I thought would be far superior at leading a club than myself. I started raising up guys like Tyler Schwans and Sam Stewart, Claire Stewart, Jessica Harden, and I replaced myself. Sat in the midst of the crowd in those meetings. I presented very, sparsely. Once in a while, I'd have, I'd just get up there to share about an event that was coming up. I'd grab like Eric Brower and drag him to the front and said, just because you're good looking doesn't mean you're gonna be successful. Get up here and learn to speak. And I'd bring him up to the front and freak him out. He grew. And I grew by learning how to raise up other leaders. And to sit here and hear these guys present, it just brought me right back to that. And to see these guys come into their rightful place, and they're just getting started. I mean, what's so cool is when we piss people off in chiropractic and tell the truth, which I'm going to a conference to speak, and they made like, I think, a definite mistake of putting me like right in the heart of like their keynote speakers. Somehow I got mixed up in the middle of them. I'm going to tell the truth in Colorado because it's a group of mixers, in my opinion, a lot of mixers out there. And they think because they are chiropractors, because they love chiropractic, that they're doing chiropractic a service by practicing and watering down the message with a bunch of crap. And remember, in my opinion, and my opinion I think is gospel, in my opinion, our generation of the mixer is the wellness model. No one in this room is really thinking, man, I can't wait to do some cold laser on some old woman's thighs. No one's thinking that. I hope not, if you are, you're a pervert. But no one's really thinking that. But the reality is that we have so many powerful people in chiropractic wasting their time advancing other people's professions. And I find that if you were to just talk about chiropractic and build really healthy practices like these guys and their wives, why would you waste your time talking about something that is not revolutionary? Diet's not revolutionary. Exercise is not revolutionary. You believe me? I appreciate that. But ADIO is completely freaking revolutionary.
Right.
There's nothing like it. It blows people's minds, and it blows my mind on a regular basis when I adjust people and they tell me stuff that they healed from. I'm like, no freaking way. They're like, yeah, way. I'm like, shut up. I'm like, no way that happened. He's like, yeah, he really did. I'm like, that's so cool. I'm like, I kind of had a part in that. It blows my mind. I'm glad it blows my mind because it keeps me alive in it. It doesn't keep me desensitized. It keeps me saying, man, we got to get this on more people. I got to be touching more people. You know, and that's what I'm thinking in my head is I'm like, I got to touch her. No, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, man, this is so cool. What if I wasted my time talking about pillows? What if I wasted my time talking about supplements? Where somebody would have given the credit in a heartbeat to that friggin' supplement, even though they took it 2 weeks ago, but they got adjusted yesterday, and today they got the results. They would have given it to the supplement, I guarantee you. They do it every single time. It's very, very frustrating. But you know what they will give you credit for? Is the screw-ups. Is the day that they their kid got kicked out of school, they got a flat tire on the way to the practice, found out their husband's cheating on them, but you adjusted them 5 days ago and they got a migraine today and it was your adjustment. They're like, Doc, after you adjusted me the other day, 5 days later I got a freaking headache. Even though I found out my husband was sleeping with a sitter and my kid got kicked out of school and my bank account's in the red. I'm like, oh, it's the adjustment? How convenient that I'm the scapegoat. Don't freaking make fun of your husband. Get mad at him, don't get mad at me. I didn't cause the migraine, it was that loser. That's what I want to say to them. But they'll blame you. So you have to prepare your mind every single day for that. And I'm telling you, for the student in the seat, for the spouse in the seat right now, it's like, man, this is the time to prepare. I'm glad I'm prepared. I'm glad, I get sometimes I just get anxiety sometimes walking through these halls. I'm like, I remember, I saw Jeremy walk by some kids out there studying on a Friday night. I'm like, what losers? What the hell are they doing? And they're like, they put the thing like here, and they're like, and Jeremy's going, blue moon, blue moon, blue moon. I grabbed it, blue moon. And so it was just like, man, this has nothing. I was like, oh my God, I remember Blue Moon. Do you know when the last time I did Blue Moon? Was when I took boards. Because we are full of knowledge. I'm always giving people tips and stuff and things that I remember from my education that has to do with more of the core sciences than it does with chiropractic. But when you see it all working together in synergy, you understand the purpose of that education. You can put that purpose to use. And we do, but you have to do it in a relevant way. But so many people are going to spend so much of their time perfecting Blue Moon and not perfecting their stride in the streets or their language and their communication with the community. That they'll be doing Blue Moon on themselves from here to Kingdom Come, I assure you. But I'm grateful for the entire process because it wasn't easy, but it was very well worth it. You know, this morning I had to fly out from Atlanta, and I'm going to fly back out next week, and then I don't know what freaking September and October, November look like. I know they're not pretty, but they're worth it because we're traveling a lot for chiropractic. But yesterday I had an opportunity to go fish with this professional fly fisherman, and he's just a stud. And I've gone a couple times, like 5 a.m. my son in the bed. And I looked at him and I said to myself, I was like, man, I'm going to go to Atlanta with him and I'm going to leave him and my wife there for 4 days, 5 days, while I come back to Colorado to serve and then go back to Atlanta to serve again. And I said, man, I can't give up this morning. It's the greatest joy in my life to get up in the morning and see that baby smile and see that baby play and see him want to wrestle with me and see him just like come over. If I open up my computer to respond to 40 emails Jeremy sent me in the middle of the night and I get up to do it, he will see light and he'll start to crawl towards me and he'll get on the computer and he's just like slapping all the keys and it's doing things in the Mac world that I have no idea how to undo. I mean, I see things downloading and uploading and changing and I'm like, shit. And I'm like, look, which ones you hit? He's like, and he's smacking the keyboard and closing on his fingers. He's like, you know, and I mean, it's just, those moments. And I remember what chiropractic has done for my life. And I'm not a touchy-feely guy. I'm an emotional dude. I run a heart on my sleeve. I'm honest. I'm a little bit raw. But it's me. But I remember every day what chiropractic did for my life. Because my sweet wife, who was totally medically minded, was told that because she was so tiny, she would have to have a C-section. That there's no way getting around it. Like her vagina wasn't made to have a baby. That thing's made to have babies. They said she had to have a C-section. She had such bad endometriosis that she was diagnosed with that at the age of 14 that they told her that she was infertile and had a hysterectomy by the age of 20. When I met my wife in my early 20s, she was missing 4 to 5 days of work a month because of her cycle was so bad. Just gut-wrenching cycle. They put her on, what's that wire that they put up in the gynae? IUD in the gynae. That's an industry term, guys. Get used to it. We're doctors. They put her on that thing, saying that it balanced her hormones and she'd be fine. Nothing helped. They put her on the pill, they did all this stuff, and my wife was not sexually active before I met her. It's oh shit. You'll protect me when I go back to the hotel. She was not, and so she wasn't on this pill like people say, I do it to regulate my cycle, and you find out that they're like regulating other things. She was truly trying to fix this problem from the outside in. When I met her, she asked me, because I saw how bad her cycle was, she asked me if I was willing to adopt. I said, what makes you ask me that? I said, the answer is yes, I'd love to adopt. I think that I would love to have a black baby. I really would. I think that'd be the coolest thing. And I said that one time at a lunch event in front of Zeus. Nobody laughed, and Zeus was like, and then Tatum, his daughter, comes running up to me, this is perfect. He says, she says, they told me that I'm infertile. I'm delayed having the hysterectomy because I'm scared. And I said, okay. I said, well, it's not in my nature to operate out of fear. I said, so yes, I would adopt children, no doubt. But not because I believe that you're infertile. I believe that God doesn't make junk. I believe that you're created to be whole and healthy. I think that you just have interruption to that healthiness. And she's like, whatever. Right? You know what I mean? It's like, if you're a chiropractic student and you're eating your boogers because you think that you're going to redigest them, you're good, and it's like, and you're like you're coughing the air, somebody else coughs through your face, thinks you think it's going to boost your immunity. Real weird. This does not happen in the real world, okay? Real weird. So let me tell you something. I said it to her and she was like, okay, whatever. I'm not adopting with this guy. And I said, no, I really think that you have the opportunity to be healthy. So we got her under care with Jeremy Hess. She was under regular care all the way through school. The first thing that improved was her cramping. She would go through the month with no cramping, but would still get her cycle. We took her off of that IUD. We started to see her digestion improve. Her immunity boosted almost immediately. She used to get sick all the time. We kept her in a regular, specific scientific chiropractic care all the way through school and into practice. And everyone always gave us a hard time because we were focused on practice, not on building babies. I want to build a practice. I said, we were pregnant with a practice. We're about to give birth to this thing naturally. It's going to be painful. It's going to be organic, but it's going to be ours, right? No vaccines, nothing. And we developed this practice. Said, when we hit 300 visits a week, I'll give you my seed. That's what I said. I did not say that. I may have said that. We hit 300 visits a week in 3 weeks. And Tara looked at me. She goes, "Can we do 1,000?" Because we just weren't ready. It was just our life. It wasn't your life. It wasn't other people's lives. And people try to tell you how to live your life. And so we did our thing. We tried to get pregnant, and we got pregnant. And let me tell you something else. We had the dumbest we had the dumbest, hippiest, weirdest midwife that Colorado had to offer. This lady, I was like, I'm looking at this lady, and every time I meet her, I'm like, she's got me guessing, she'd be going to this gender-neutral bathroom for sure. I wasn't sure what she was. And I'm like, I couldn't figure it out. I didn't care. All I wanted was a healthy baby and pregnancy and delivery. But I'm figuring this out with this chick, right? She hated me because every time she'd say something, she's like, we should do the vitamin K shot. I go, shoot up your baby if you do have a baby. I couldn't tell if she was married or what the deal was. I was like, you do that to your baby, we're gonna decide what we wanna do to ours. Well, vitamin K is not something we're gonna do to our baby. I believe God makes us whole and healthy. I don't believe God makes junk. If you have an appendix, you're having for a reason. Now, there's things that can go awry, but I don't like hearing people say, well, you know, I had a little bit of pain and got my gallbladder because I don't need it. Bullshit. You need it. It's part of your physiology. Don't tell me you don't need it. And so, this lady would tell me things, and we just butted heads all the time. And she just was like, I deal with chiropractors all the time because everybody has, you know, it's a chiropractor has a baby naturally eats the placenta. Like, I'm not eating the placenta because I'm not eating that thing. I may plant it in a tree, make a tree outside. I mean, maybe I'll put it in a pill and I'll snort it, but I'm not gonna freaking eat the thing. Okay? No stir-fried placenta for me to. And so she says to me, I'm gonna get to my presentation. She says to me, she goes, you need to take at least a month off when this baby's born. Are you prepared for that? I go, ignorant. I was like, no, I'm serving people. I can't take 30 days off. In what world can I take 30 days off? I was like, that's just not, we're serving people. We have a real big responsibility to humanity. And I love my son, I love my wife, but we're serving people. Don't tell us how to live our life. And I'd get to meetings late, and I'd go there, I'd do the breathing thing, and I'd push on her back in the same room, and I'd, you know, do the whole deal and everything. I was reading the books. She just didn't think I was. And we butted heads and butted heads and butted heads. But I was serving people, and I had to sacrifice my time for my wife in this experience at times because we're serving people. We have a greater calling, right? So when my wife went into labor, we were out to breakfast on Friday morning. Thankfully, we closed on Fridays, and I was home that weekend. My wife went into labor, and I said, okay, you're in labor, no doubt. Let's drive the steamboat by a John Deere tractor. That's what I said. And so we got in the truck, and we drove 4 hours to Steamboat. I bought a John Deere tractor and trailered her back. Halfway to the Steamboat, she was, you know, her contractions were a minute long and lasted in 5 minutes in between. She was in full-blown labor. And when she called the midwife and she said, hey, I'm in labor, she goes, okay, get in a hot tub. And she goes, a warm tub, and she goes, drink a glass of wine, relax, because I'm at another delivery. And she goes, funny thing, I'm in a F-250 driving a steamboat, and I'm about 6 hours from home. And she said, I'm gonna kill your husband. That's what she said. So we breathed through it, we talked about it, we got home, and I got Tara in bed, it was about midnight. I got Tara in bed and she started to relax. And she was able to fall asleep, and I just sat there and just rubbed her back and prayed over her and spoke life over her. And we got up in the morning and I went grocery shopping and got all the food ready and everything, and she was in full-blown labor. By the time that evening rolled around, the afternoon, my wife didn't cry, didn't call out, didn't complain, didn't say she was in pain, nothing, not once. And we got in that birthing tub in our bedroom with nobody else in the room. The midwife was downstairs in the kitchen. I eat my food. She was downstairs, and I caught that beautiful boy who came out of my wife's womb, and when he was underwater, his eyes were wide open. He was just looking right at me, and I said, sweetie, don't sit down. She was in a catching spot. And I said, babe, don't squish my boy. I didn't know that he's a boy, we didn't know. And his eyes are wide open, right? Because he's still in water. He hasn't transcended in the air, right? So he's in water, and he's looking right at me. And I'll never forget when my wife told me, when we were on the road, she was back home, and she said, Michael, this baby's doing somersaults in my belly. He is playing in my tummy 24/7. And she goes, I just believe he's so excited to be alive. And it's been like that ever since. His eyes wide open under the water. I said, hey, don't sit on him. Push him out. And she goes, Michael, give me a second. This isn't easy. And she pushed him out. I brought him up to her chest and put him on her chest. Still haven't seen that as a boy. Checked cord length, everything. Put him on her chest. Wrapped her in a blanket in the water. Right, a warm wet towel. Wrapped it right around her. About 5 minutes later, we made our way to the bed. She laid on the bed. We got her under the covers. And the midwife came up to help her birth the placenta. We left the placenta attached for an hour and a half in the bed. The midwives were downstairs doing some stuff. I don't know what they do, eat my food, complain about me. They came back up about an hour and a half later. We clipped the cord, and we lifted him up and saw that it was a little boy. And I couldn't have been more excited. Tara got into an herbal bath with Luca, and they lay there and they took a little bath together. They got back into bed with me. And at that time, the midwives had already cleaned up the entire bedroom. The tub was gone. Everything was gone. Nobody was in our home. They're gone. Let me tell you something about this. The midwife comes back to me when it's all said and done in a follow-up appointment. She said, Michael, I've got to say, I've delivered over 1,100 births, 1,100 babies in the state of Colorado in my career. Not once have we transferred 1,100 births to the hospital. She goes, I know we butted heads, but I've never seen a healthier pregnancy, an easier and healthier labor and delivery, or a healthier infant. Kudos to your chiropractic. I thought that was So I express this to our practice members on a regular basis. We never ask anyone in our community to do something that we don't do for myself, for my wife, and for my son, and my entire team on a regular basis. We get checked and adjusted on a regular basis. Not because anyone in our practice is sick or suffering or in pain. It's because we never want to be. Does that make sense? That's something you should probably write down. It's about being congruent, about walking your talk. My team members have all been under care, have all paid for care, and all had breakthroughs under care. So when they ask you to do something in our practice, like get your family checked, or get your spouse checked, or stay on your schedule, or you need to pay your bill, they're asking you that because they've all done those things, and they do it on a regular basis. There's congruency. From the front of the practice to the back of the practice and everything in between. I'll tell you this. That boy is one of my anchors in life. I think of Luca all the time saying, what if my wife bought into the lie? What if she had that early hysterectomy? What if she believed what those liars and deceivers in the medical community spit to her? I'd have missed out on this opportunity as a glorious little boy. And that little cowboy is turning 1 year old on Sunday. And he's here with us today. And he completed his 35th flight in 12 months. Do you know where he went on those 35 flights? To chiropractic conventions, to things like this. He hasn't been on a flight, I do not believe, to anywhere on vacation with us. Typically when we vacate, we stay at our home. It was all the sacrifices of serving our profession so you can serve humanity to a better level. And I'll tell you this, when it says today, not tomorrow, it means that the moment you started school, that clock started ticking. And you've made decisions. You've either made decisions to advance your future or to serve your selfish desires. Right? Tonight, you're advancing your future. How many times have you missed the opportunity because you did something you wanted to do, not something that you had to do, something that you needed to do? How many times? You only have so many times you can miss the opportunity, and then the bell's going to ring, and you're out of here. And now the pressure's on. The pressure is on. This is my little man right here. That's Luca boy. Look at that freaking kid. I could make out with that face 24/7. I mean, I'll grab his diaper at the front of his package and I'll wiggle it and I'll go, what's in it? It's your little Willie. And he'll smile at me and people will look at me like, what's the matter with this guy? They go, that's my son. I can wiggle his Willie if I want to. It's in a diaper. I freaking play with that kid. I love that kid. He is the greatest joy that you could ever give to somebody or help somebody achieve. What I mean by that is that we have a couple that came in and got under care recently, about 5 months ago, that are in their mid-30s and are trying desperately to get pregnant. Well, today they're 4 months pregnant after being under neurologically based chiropractic corrective care. They drive from a town called Grand Lake. That's about 2 hours from my practice minimum each way, husband and wife. You know what I love so much about them is that he's on the oil rig 3 weeks on, 1 week off. So he's gone 3 straight weeks. So Tara's like mailed them books off of Amazon. We called to check in on her. They're just practice members. But we're invested in their lives. They trust us. And everything that we do is relationships built on trust. You're not going to get that pregnant mom. You're not going to get that pediatric. You're not going to get that infant. You're not going to get that referral of the frail grandmother if you do not have a relationship built upon trust with that person in front of you. Everybody wants the pediatric practice. Everybody wants the family practice. Everybody wants pregnant moms, right? Those are the fun ones. It's not the crotchety old man that came in the other day that paid in full for his care, and I adjusted his atlas, just one adjustment on the first night. The second time he comes back in, I said, Gerald, how'd you have that adjustment? He said, listen, motherfucker. He goes, you do that again to me, I'm going to do it to you, I want my money back. And he said it the other day. I go, Gerald, lay down and shut up. So he said, oh, you shut up. He's saying it really loud, so I'm trying to cut it with like humor. Then I realized it's somewhat serious. And he's like, no, seriously, man, that hurt like hell. He goes, but I slept really well. I go, so you want your money back or not? And he goes, just don't do that to me again. I said, Jill, shut up and lay down. And I barely know this guy, and he laid down. And he's a funny guy. But I mean, those crotchety ones are tough. And I joke around a lot. But you have to understand when you can and when you can't. Because when I walked into a room after the 4th of July, and this guy, Richard Atkinson, was that is a totally different person. He's been with me. You know what? I got invited last minute one day to Golfsmith. It's right next door to my building. They said, hey, we got a cancellation. One of the golf pros didn't show. And we're wondering if you could want to come over and do a little talk. I was like, sure. I'm like, I got to open in like 25 minutes. So I guess I'll get the spine. I'll wiggle it out. Let's do it. And so I went over there, and it's like 5 60s and older men. It's got to be the worst crowd. And they're all like, dude, so I talked. 3 out of the 5 came over. I opened at 3. I didn't talk like 2:30. 3 out of the 5 came over and got assessed. 3 out of the 3 that paid in full for their care, like thousands of dollars within that week. And 2 out of the 3 are still under care with me 3 years later. I think that's so cool, right? We showed up. We showed up. But when you have the level of preparation that these cats have, you can just wing it sometimes. But when that opportunity presents itself and you're not prepared, oftentimes it wouldn't present itself. But when it does present itself, sometimes I'm thinking God's like trying to show us that we're not prepared. And say like, get your head on. Get your head on, right? So Richard is one of those guys, and he's really ornery. He's a single old man. He's kind of a jerk to my team. He and I have a great rapport. I came in, I said, hey, Grumpy, what's up? I'm like poking him in the butt. And he's like, nothing. I was like, how was your 4th? Poking him, butt. And he's, because he's face down, so I like play with their butt a little bit. Sometimes like cheer him up. And he goes, it sucked. I go, shut up, Grumps. I was like, turn your head to the right. He turned his head to the right and he didn't laugh. Turned his head to the left. I said, Richard, what's up, bro? He goes, my sister died on the 4th of July. Sorry, Richard. He's been the caretaker of his sister for a long time. His sister hated chiropractic because she knew of some Joe Schmo, 3 roads down, that got freaking, hurt by a chiropractor. So she never gave a chiropractor another chance. So Richard's been taking care of her, and he's been trying to get her to come in. But now we'll never have that opportunity because she just passed. And we had to shift it right there in the spot because I was joking around being light with him, but it was a very heavy situation. So after I prayed with him, and he's not a Christian, I prayed with him, and I sent him out on his way. I followed up the next day with a phone call to check in on him. He didn't answer, I just left him a heartfelt voicemail, and then sent him some chocolate-covered strawberries because that cheers up anything. I said, man, enjoy these and celebrate your sister's life on me, as I know that you were a great service to her, and it's a huge loss for your life. He taught me a lot. He sacrificed every single day. He told me, man, I was playing this tournament. He's a golf pro. I was playing this tournament, and my sister had a seizure, and I just had to roll out. And he's like, I just left. And I said, when's the last time you played? He's like, it's been 2 weeks, man. She's not doing so well. Just hearing the sacrifice people give up, and the people that I know in my heart that I could help that one in some capacity, they were only going to help. You need to be prepared. I'm telling you, with everything that we've done, it's always worth it, but there's a lot more people that need our help. I love this quote. I don't even know who Arvind Lal is, but it says, "Don't let school get in the way of your education. The best lessons in life do not come from a teacher, they come from experience." I want to ask you a question. I want to challenge you guys. Who here knows that they're doing everything that they can before they graduate to get all the experience they can in building momentum in their practice, connecting the dots with the community? Because that's the hardest part. The hardest part is not learning chess. I know sometimes when you get started, you're like, is that really C2? Because they're like, no, it's T4. And you're like, oh, sure. You know what I mean? That happens, right? That happens. Just thrust on it, see what happens. That's very important. I get it, right? I get it. But you don't want to put the cart before the horse, because if you can't get that butt in the seat and the body on the bench, what the hell do you care what your hands can do? What does it matter? Right? What does it matter? Right? You need to learn the foreplay, right? And the foreplay is getting out in the streets, hugging folks and kissing babies. Building dynamic relationships built on trust. Where people say, man, you're different. You're different. Not different in a way that you're like special. It's that, you're going out, you're engaging people, you're doing it in an uncreepy manner, and you're loving on people and loving them through yours. Ask yourself this question: what am I doing to get experience? I'm not talking about going to extremity seminars. It's crap. It matters. Go to one, that's fine. But don't just work on perfecting your hands when you don't even know if you're ever going to get to use them. And don't use them 2 to 3 times a week. That's not living your sole purpose. That's living out of survival. And no one here went into school just so that they could survive. Nobody did. But we know too many people that are just doing that. This is awesome. I love this. I'm probably not going to be able to read it, but it says, I don't know. I think Mark Cuban's cool. I think he's awesome. I love watching Shark Tank. It gets my creative juices flowing. Because I still work hard to know my business. I'm continuously looking for ways to improve my companies. And I'm always selling. Always. I think that's friggin' phenomenal. You have to know everything. You know what I think is the problem with franchising? We own a franchise, Jeremy, myself, and Eric Brower, not in chiropractic. You know what they do? Is they just give you this package. It's very easy to sign on the dotted line, you know what I mean, the whole deal, depending upon if they're in-house financing it or if it's, you know what I mean. There's a lot of chiropractic franchises. You just sign on the dotted line. Just sign on that dotted line, right? And they provide everything you need. But you know what that does? Is that enables you to not know how to do it on your own. Why? Because you're not getting into the depths of negotiations, of demographics, of leases, of contracts. You're not getting into the depths of LOIs and your relationship with the landlord, and how that all works, the build out, the contractors, the permitting. You're not understanding really what it really takes to build, because they built the business. They're just saying, you need this much money, let's do it. You know what I mean? You gotta try to hit these numbers. And then if you don't, they'll take it back. I got into a fight last year on the night before Luca was born, on August 8th of last year. Tomorrow will be a year. Because some guy, and forgive me, but I'm speaking from experience, so some guy posted an advertisement that came up in my Facebook feed. And it was about 100% chiropractic. And it stated that it was 100% chiropractic, but for $49, you could get 2 one-hour massages, exam, x-rays, and 2 adjustments for $49. I said, now, I know that I didn't do real well in school in the beginning, but that doesn't appear to be 100% chiropractic. It appears to be a bait and switch. It appears to use some sort of gimmick to get people in the door. Now, with that being said, I called it out. And it caused a poop storm on Facebook, which I didn't really care. And this guy that's down the road from me that's in one of his practices, he's like, and I have experience with it because Zeus was a part of that organization. It took about $40,000 from him. Because Zeus was operating out of here, just signed on the dotted line, and they had no qualification for it. Just, yeah, you're in. So it caused a crap storm. I said, hey, listen. All I did was point out that it's BS. I didn't say that, you're a loser, your mama's ugly. I didn't say it for that. Though I see you, she ugly. And so it was this whole thing. No, I bleed chiropractic, man. We're chiropractors. If you want to have that conversation one-on-one, I'll buy the drink this relic. We're at Mile High next year. I waited, I didn't get a drink. I was there. Those guys avoided me like the plague. Why? Because they're scared, because they know that there's a hole in their game. So, guess who's out of business and working at a Medipractor now? Under 12 months later, and it's about sports rehab and laser and all this crap. That's who works for as an associate now. Went from his own practice as a franchise, now an associate. You know why I call BS on that? Is because if you love chiropractic so much, you don't flip-flop in philosophies like that. You don't go from serving the principal and saying, I love it, I love it, I love it, to have a little bit of strength, and then go over here and be a mixer. You don't. You need to dig your heels in. You need to fall in love with chiropractic. You have to understand that subluxation kills, and it may not kill overnight, but it kills over time by providing a lesser expression of life. And I'll tell you what, it is one of the most revolutionary ideas in the world today. But when you don't believe it, a little storm comes, you'll fold. You will fold, and the storms will come. The storms come. Even as great as you can be at, the storms still come. And I encourage you to fall in love with chiropractic, to fall in love with that principle of ADIO, that if you are interfered with, you don't have the best opportunity to be healthy. So if it's cancer or MS, or if it's just a little bit of neck pain or ring in the ears, if you remove the interference, that person has a better opportunity to heal than they did before. Right. So why not focus on that? When every subluxation is gone, I'm committed to this. Every subluxation is gone in my community. I will sell pillows and massages all day long. I'll give them massage. I'll throw in a happy ending. I don't care. I'm kinky. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll go on the record. The moment that it's out and everybody's holding, I'll start selling other stuff. But why would we waste our time when we have that? We have that cornerstone in what we do and how we can help people. Why would we waste our time doing other things? It doesn't make any sense. You got to know your business, and you have to be able to sell it. And in order to sell it, you need to know it really, really well. Some of you guys have heard me say this quote before. I freaking love this quote. Say, you never half-ass two things, you just whole-ass one thing. I'll tell you what, every single day I see people, whether they're maximized living or not, when it comes to like a wellness model, maximized living does it as well as anyone. So don't try to knock them off. Either get with them or do something different, right? Maximized living does wellness as well as anyone, right? But you can go up the street anywhere. It's this chiropractor that's like, he's part of Advocare, and then he's over here and he's selling freaking Dr. Scholl's, and it's like, you know, they're doing weight loss, and it's like from a chubby old chiropractor. I'm like, what do you know about weight loss, Chubbs? And it's like, well, you know what I mean? Walk your talk. And it's like they're trying to knock off other organizations. It's like, if you're sold out for wellness, you should do maximized living. You should. But if you love chiropractic and you want to drive chiropractic forward, and you want to set yourself apart from your community, whole ass one thing, and that's the principle of chiropractic. That is analyzing through instrumentation, x-rays if necessary, and adjusting, re-eval and repeat, re-eval and repeat. I was telling Jeremy that we do a 36-month care plan for 72 visits. It's my final maintenance plan. Everybody's doing this or more visits than this, right? It's 3 years with every other week for 3 years, with 9 reassessments. It's thousands of dollars. I don't know what the hell I'm doing in 3 years. Does anyone know what they're doing in 3 years? I don't think so. Maybe you're doing something, right? But 3 years. How do you know that? I don't know. I think I've presented, I gotta look at the numbers. I don't want to make false numbers, but say if I've presented 40 of those so far, because we're just getting into our 3rd year, right? Our 1st year was their corrective care phase. Their 2nd year for everybody is once a week for 48 weeks. Everybody gets once a week. And then they wean down. 30 of those, I've had 25 paying full for 3 years of care. How freaking cool is that? That means that this, I don't even know what's going to happen in 3 years, but I'm going to pay for it all up front because I'm fully committed to this. There's no way I'm going back to the way that was. That's value. And when you can create that value, you don't want to do anything else. You don't want to talk about freaking colon blow and detox. And, you know, why would we waste? The moment you detox, you step out these doors, you're intoxicated again. I freaking assure you. I live in Colorado, and I come to Atlanta, I'm intoxicated. It's freaking smoggy out there. It's like, it smells funky. I mean, it's funk. My son, we're going to give him a haircut. He left the mullet on him because we're in Georgia right now. Like, Vinny, going with the mullet in Georgia. I want him to fit in. I don't want him to stand out and everybody like, he's a rich kid from Colorado. To double your income, you need to triple your self-development. I love that thought. To double your income, guys, you need to triple your self-development. Vinny, all of a sudden, I made fun of Georgia, and then I get the 1 minute finger. Get off the stage, guys. This was a bicycle drive that we did. We do something in our practice, as I close up, we do something in our practice called donation through consumption marketing. We provide vehicles for people to serve humanity once they're well under care. We believe that when people are healthy, and they're no longer focused on their symptoms, they're no longer focused on their complaints, that they can better serve and focus on other people's needs. So we provide vehicles for them to get engaged in the community. We recently did a bicycle drive where we collected nearly 100 bicycles, and they were all in my office. They were hanging from the rafters, they were stuffed in exam rooms, they were underneath the desks, they were everywhere. We'd have to move them out onto the sidewalks during the day, and we'd bring them back in at night. It was awesome. Some went to a veterans group. We have a huge heart for military personnel, veterans, some American, and it was cool. We gave a bunch of the adult bikes to that veterans group where they're helping to rehab veterans and give them something to do to decompress and therapize. And I think that's pretty cool. The rest went to the youth organizations. Right now we're doing the Undie 500. It's a little pervy, but we're collecting pairs of underpants for kids. And so there's a place called Denver, Close the Kids in Denver, and it's a retail shop that kids in need can come and shop for their school clothes. They get dividends, so they don't actually spend money, but it feels like they're going to a store. So instead of getting hand-me-downs like a lot of poor kids get, they get to go into a store and pick out their clothing with their dividends. The number one thing that they don't get new is underwear. They always get used underwear. And so we came up with a drive called the Undie 500, and we're going to collect over 500 pairs of underwear for kids that are in need, and we're going to donate it to them first. And that's pretty cool. So there's a little doorway Explore panties hanging all over my practice, and then I have to dress up on the final day of the donation as Captain Underpants, and so that's going to be fun. But we do things where we engage our community and get them on the mission. I want to share this with you as we close up. People are probably sitting there thinking that they're not sure what the outcomes are, if they're getting started too late, or if they're only successful because those dance are special, all this sort of stuff. But Beyonce, she's not my thing, but those idiots got to marry them, Nicki Minaj and Beyonce. So I want to say to you guys that you can accomplish whatever you want if those guys could accomplish that. I hope you have a vision board at home, even if it's bare. It's always got to be evolving. My vision board's always changing because ideas come in, old ideas are fading out, and new things or new possibilities are presenting themselves. So I hope that at a minimum you have a great vision board at home, that you're developing it on a regular basis. Maybe it's what your home looks like, maybe what you like to drive, maybe what your practice looks like, where it may be. Has anyone been in my practice that's in this room, like my practice? Okay. Has anyone been in my back office? People have been in my back office. You see that huge map on the wall that's got like all of Greater Denver, and I've got my offices up on the corners of where we're gonna go. I've got my property, I've got the horses, I've got the freaking cabin, I got everything is coming to fruition on time so far. And I put that thing up years ago. The home that we found, the ranch that we bought, was literally like a half inch from where I put a picture of a horse where I wanted my ranch. I think that's so cool. And just looking at it and believing it, seeing it, working towards it, seeing God provide. Anything is possible. Dream big, start small, act now. Today's the day, guys. Today, not tomorrow. Keep saying that to yourself. Today, not tomorrow. And if you're having setbacks, speak this over your life if you're having setbacks. Delay is not denial. Delay is not denial. Delay is not denial. Every time you have a setback, you tell yourself, delay is not denial. This is my destiny. Delay is not denial. I'm prepared for this. Delay is not denial. I am made for this. Delay is not denial. I am called to this. Delay is not denial. And you keep moving forward. If you're delaying yourself, shame on you. Because not only do you screw it up for yourself, but you're going to misrepresent chiropractic and make it look like what people already believe, that we're failures in business, that we're failures in practice, that we're oftentimes a joke. We are not. We are creating critical mass in our profession through healthy practices like the dance and everyone else, like Wozniak and Hasty and all these guys, Gino and Travis Sue, all these people are creating healthy practices right out of the gate. that represent chiropractic with value and respect and authority. And one of the things I love about it is that it's results driven. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. But I'll tell you this, it does matter what you do in your preparation in order to make that dream into reality. So I hope you're taking action. One place I'd like to invite you guys to again is to our conference next week where you can come for free and get engulfed, marinated in the principle of chiropractic. Hear from all sorts of people that are doing all sorts of different ways, all wrapped around the principle of chiropractic. And learn as to how you can start to develop that vision board even further. And I challenge you to show up, because I assure you that it will not be a waste of your time. You guys are welcome to connect with me on Facebook. Make sure you go to the Michael Viscarelli DC page, because that's the only page I post on. It says DCF, my name. The other one's an administrative page. I will not talk to you on that page. And you guys come out to my practice. Many of you already are. You guys are always welcome to my practice. Come in, explore. Who's been in the practice process as a doer? Anyone? You guys were? Yeah, so you came out and we processed you as a practice member so you could see what that day one experience looks like from their perspective. Did you believe it to be a good experience? Did you believe it to be excellent? Did you believe it to be informative? Did you believe it to create value? We want to create value, not just for our practice members and our community, but for you guys in chiropractic. Now, we have a raffle before we go, and then one more treat for you. One more little treat. And that's not Jeremy taking his shirt or his pants off.
Thank you, Dr. Michael. Hey, let's give a big hand for all of these doctors that came out. Learned a lot about Dr. Michael's little boy, Willie, so that was great. Hope you guys got a lot out of that too. As promised, we have a raffle that we're doing tonight. Dr. Jeremy, can you bring those books over here for us? All right, so first we're going to start out. We have 4 different books that we're going to raffle off. Did anyone not put their half of the ticket in the container? Do you want to bring yours up? You have another? You never got one? Sorry, man, you don't get it back. All right. So for the first one, this is going to be Baby Designed by God by Dr. Amanda and Jeremy Hess.
All right. 504777.
504777. Yeah, if they're not here, they don't get it. Anyone? All right, another one.
504809.
504809. All right, come on up, Lindsay. You worked so hard. Good job. Thanks. All right. Then we got Woman Designed by God. Dr. Amanda Hess and Jeremy Hess again. What do we got?
504745.
504745. Come on, I know, Anthony. Is that your number? Go on. All right, next one.
504812.
504812. That's my mom. She just stood up. Is that you, Mom? No, not Mom. Either. All right, no one else? Shake it up a little.
504826.
504826. All right, how about the fastest person can make it up here? Woman Designed by God. There we go. All right, sold. Now we have another Baby Designed by God.
504768.
All right, come on up.
Yeah.
This thing extended, I would bring it to you. Congratulations. All right, the last one we have is The Life and Times of B.J. Palmer by Dr. Jeremy Hess. So, no, it's not Jeremy Hess.
504750.
504750. All right, Michael. Okay, and the last little thing that we actually had this gig going on where whoever brought the most guests to tonight a free module from Dr. Jeremy Hess. It's actually a $497 value right there, so that's kind of a big deal. And Dr. Michael. All right, yeah, the two of them managed Dr. Jeremy Hess. Anyway, so tonight's winner is actually someone who just joined about a week ago. $797. Sorry, not $497. My fault. Ty Hedgepeth, come on up. We'll give you a big hug and then we'll talk to you about the night. All right, so that's everything we had wrapped up for tonight. Three big things, guys. A checklist for us to make. Number one was to make it to launch. You guys did a phenomenal job. Obviously, you're here. You got half of that one. We have tomorrow morning from 9 to 11. It's going to be phenomenal. These docs are going to be taking us down for some nuts and bolts in practice, so that'll be great. Don't want to miss it. Number two is get plugged in with us on campus for club. We meet Tuesdays from 11 to 12 in B112, and we have trainings that we do bi-weekly. We do screenings. We go to doctor's reports. All right, there's plenty of opportunities to get plugged in. You can talk to any of us leaders. We're all the leaders. Put up your hands. And Go Team. Go Team, put up your hands too. So just look around. Anyone with their hands up, you can talk to them if you have any questions, okay? And finally, last thing, I know we've talked about it a couple times tonight, conference next week, all right? This is huge. That's the last thing on your list right there. We're going to have 9 different schools represented. So the Palmer, Davenport, Palmer, Florida, all these other schools that are coming. So it's a great way to get to know a lot of the other students at these schools. Great way to get to know a lot of these doctors. Normally what we do is just on Saturday. That's free for all students. But we're actually opening up for any of you guys that want to come for the entire weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We have a mix and mingle on Friday with a bunch of the doctors. And then Sunday is a topic-specific day where we just break down a specific topic in practice. That's actually going to be, we have all access passes up here for you. So if you want one of those, come find us after this, okay?
Awesome, yeah, so the conference downtown next weekend, we're expecting about 700 chiropractors, teams from really actually all over the world. We have Canadians and States and even South America coming. It's gonna be intense, it's gonna be all chiropractic, so make sure you're there for that. So if you wanna have an all access pass, just run up here afterwards, see Felicity or Vinny about that. Listen, we had a great time here tonight. So I want you to do me a favor real quick and grab your phone. Grab your phone, right? This is how people remind me here tomorrow. Who's bringing a guest tomorrow? Let's bring someone with them. Tomorrow's actually, I know tonight was great, but tomorrow really is a great way to, like we said, if people have questions, we do question and answer session, really lift the roof of the practice off and really dig in and see the practice from a 30,000 foot view. So be here tomorrow and make sure you bring some people with you. But do me a favor, just take a picture or tag a quote you like tonight. Maybe Michael's said something about Billy or something. What do you say? Or China, you can tag some and stuff. Michael, Johnny. No, tag a great quote tonight. And tag Launch Store Amps, and do us a favor and get some chatter going. Let people know to be here tomorrow. And really the AMPS program pushing forward. So listen, a lot of you have questions about Jumpstart program. Jumpstart program that really bridges the gap between graduating here and actually being successful in practice. We talked about it at the conference next week and also tomorrow morning a little bit. The AMP program specifically. If you want to get, we talked about the Pareto Principle again, 20-80%. So there's 20% of you here that really want to plug in and get to know more. Again, see myself, Michael, the Dans. Dans are going to be showing up tomorrow morning. We're also going to be doing a role playing in the sense of going through scenarios in the practice, asking questions. What are you going to say when you only want one adjustment? I don't want X-rays. All these kind of different questions that come up. We're going to kind of tackle the top 15 or so questions and how they're going to answer them. Also, Dr. Rusty Herring is coming tomorrow. Dr. Rusty Herring from Alabama is coming. Dan's going to be here. We're going to be here. We're going to do a lot of question and answer. Also, just like role playing is just awesome to see these guys in action. Actually, how they work in their practices. So, anything else, Michael? Oh, hey, listen. We have a surprise. Dr. McClellan, come up here. Happy birthday to you. Come on, Michael. sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. It's from Megan, right? These guys sacrificed waiting for his new wife on his birthday, man. Y'all kill this guy. Yep, come up, get a piece of cake, get a All Access Pass this weekend. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure you post on Facebook, Instagram that, and also we'll see you tomorrow morning and next weekend. Come up and grab an All Access Pass right up here.